Note, although the chapter number is different, it's still a continuation of story from where the last video ended at chapter 1300. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1296. Did junior brother Chen behave in any unusual way during the time I was away? Cao Xian also felt that Skywolf City was not safe. The Blood Eagle Hall now knew that Lu Chen, the personal disciple of the Xuanyu Hall master, was in Skywolf City. They were likely to send people to assassinate Lu Chen again in order to provoke the relationship between the Xuanyu Hall and the Qian sect. Anyway, Lu Chen came to the mortal world only for training. It didn't matter where he trained, and there was no need to stay in Skywolf City all the time. Moreover, Lu Chen came to Skywolf City only to investigate the betrayal of the Skywolf City Lord and the major families. Now that the situation had been clarified, and the Qian sect and the Xuanyu Hall were preparing to form an alliance, there was no point in continuing to stay in Skywolf City. Lu Chen said, "Okay, we'll rest in Skywolf City for a day, and leave for other cities the day after tomorrow." After speaking, Lu Chen turned and left the training ground. After Lu Chen left, Cao Xian came to Xiao Zuying and asked, "Junior sister Xiao, has junior brother Chen shown any unusual behavior during my absence?" Hearing this question, Xiao Zuying's brain was slightly stunned, and then she asked, "Why does senior sister ask this?" Cao Xian said, "This is what senior sister Yi asked me to ask." When the inner elders were discussing how to deal with the Blood Eagle Hall, Yi Chuyao transmitted a message to her, asking her to ask Xiao Zuying about Lu Chen's affairs after returning to Skywolf City. If Lu Chen had any abnormalities, she should immediately transmit a message to tell her. Xiao Zuying replied at this time, "No unusual behavior." Hearing Xiao Zuying's answer, Cao Xian said, "I don't know why senior sister Yi is so wary of junior brother Chen." Xiao Zuying said, "Perhaps it's because junior brother Chen is also a personal disciple of the Hall Master." Hearing this, Cao Xian's heart was shocked, and she immediately said, "Junior sister means the competition for the position of young Hall Master." Xiao Zuying said, "Before junior brother Chen came, the Hall Master only had one personal disciple, senior sister Yi, who was the young Hall Master. But after junior brother Chen came, the Hall Master has two personal disciples, and the position of young Hall Master may not necessarily be senior sister Yi's." Cao Xian said, "But isn't junior brother Chen a man? The Hall Master shouldn't pass the position of Hall Master to junior brother Chen, right?" Xiao Zuying said, "That's hard to say. The Hall Master never recruited male disciples in the past, but now she personally took the lead in recruiting a male disciple. Perhaps she is preparing to reform. If the Hall Master wants to reform in the future and let the Xuanyu Hall start recruiting male disciples, then who do you think the Hall Master will let do this?" Cao Xian suddenly understood that if the Xuanyu Hall really reformed and wanted to recruit male disciples, then the reform would definitely not be handed over to women. If it was handed over to women, women would definitely first consider their own interests, so they would not have the mind to promote the reform. By then, even if the Xuanyu Hall recruited male disciples, those male disciples would probably not get any cultivation resources. But if this matter was handed over to men, the person would consider the interests of those male disciples. In this way, the reform of the Xuanyu Hall could be promoted. Seeing that Cao Xian's attention had been diverted, Xiao Zuying breathed a sigh of relief. What reform or no reform, she was purely talking nonsense, making Cao Xian feel that Yi Chuyao wanted to find fault with Lu Chen, so she asked them to keep an eye on him. After Cao Xian came back to her senses, she said, "If it's really as junior sister said, then Chen Lu is likely to be the next Hall Master. If we are now monitoring him for senior sister Yi, if junior brother Chen knows about this, after he becomes the Hall Master, wouldn't there be no place for us in the Xuanyu Hall?" Cao Xian said, "Thanks to junior sister's reminder, I didn't think of this at all at first." Cao Xian also made up her mind that she must not get involved in the Hall Master's competition. In the future, she would not report Lu Chen's affairs if she could avoid it. Inside Skywolf City. A certain inn. Xu Jingzhu took out a talisman and directly transmitted a message to the talisman, reporting the appearance of immortals in Skywolf City in the past few days to the Blood Eagle Hall. Although she didn't know what the Qian sect's immortal and the Xuanyu Hall's immortal said, it seemed that the two sides shouldn't be able to fight. As soon as Xu Jingzhu transmitted the message, a voice appeared in the room, "Greetings, Saintess." Hearing this voice, Xu Jingzhu frowned, then turned her head to look behind her. She was just about to tell the Blood Eagle Hall not to send anyone, but she didn't expect that the next moment, Immortal Tianxiao would appear in her room. Xu Jingzhu said, Immortal Tianxiao is late. The Qian sect and the Xuanyu Hall should have discovered something. They have been in contact these days, and I'm afraid they won't be able to fight. Hearing this, Immortal Tianxiao was stunned for a moment, and then he asked, I wonder if the personal disciple of the Xuanyu Hall master is still in Skywolf City. Immortal Tianxiao thought for a while, and he decided to go to the City Lord's mansion tonight to take a look. Since he was here, he couldn't do nothing. Xu Jingzhu continued, the Xuanyu Hall and the Qian sect have already noticed Skywolf City. Even if Lu Chen hasn't left Skywolf City, Immortal Tianxiao had better not attack Chen Lu in Skywolf City. Skywolf City is very close to the Qian sect. Once Immortal Tianxiao releases the aura of an immortal, it won't be long before the Qian sect's immortal can appear in Skywolf City. By then, let alone framing the Qian sect, it's hard to say whether Immortal Tianxiao can escape. Immortal Tianxiao said, Saintess, don't worry, I know what to do. When the night was quiet, a black shadow appeared in the City Lord's mansion of Skywolf City. Immortal Tianxiao slightly scanned the entire City Lord's mansion with his divine sense and found that there was still an Earth Immortal and 2 Heaven Immortals in the City Lord's mansion. As soon as Immortal Tianxiao's divine sense was released, Lu Chen opened his eyes, who is it? Realizing that he had been exposed, Immortal Tianxiao immediately left the City Lord's mansion. Now was not the time to act. If he couldn't succeed in one blow at this time, he might attract the Qian sect's immortal. The personal disciples of the Immortal King must have some life-saving cards. Immortal Tianxiao didn't have complete confidence that he could kill Lu Chen instantly. After Lu Chen released his immortal energy, Xiao Zuying and Cao Xian, who were meditating, also opened their eyes instantly. The 2 women immediately came to Lu Chen's room. Xiao Zuying asked, Chen Lu, what's wrong? Lu Chen asked, did the 2 senior sisters sense any immortal's divine sense scanning the City Lord's mansion? Hearing this question, Xiao Zuying and Cao Xian looked at each other. They were cultivating just now and didn't sense any divine sense scanning. Seeing the 2 women looking blank, Lu Chen knew that the 2 women didn't sense it. Lu Chen thought to himself that it seemed that the other party used a special method to hide their divine sense. Because of the special cultivation technique he practiced, he was able to detect that divine sense. When that divine sense swept over just now, it made him feel very uncomfortable, and it made the divine illumination thousand lamp scripture run involuntarily. This proved that the person lurking in the dark was likely to be a heretical immortal, that is, the immortal of the Blood Eagle Hall. End of this chapter. Chapter 1297. Lu Chen, looking at the 2 women, said, it seems we've been targeted by the Blood Eagle Hall. Hearing Lu Chen's words, the 2 women instantly released their immortal energy, becoming vigilant. Lu Chen said, Senior sisters, there's no need to be nervous. They were just probing the City Lord's mansion, probably to confirm whether I've left Skywolf City. Skywolf City is too close to the Scarlet Flame sect, they wouldn't dare to act here. Xiao Zuying said worriedly, then what should we do now? They've probably already set up an array, and we probably can't transmit messages out. Lu Chen thought for a moment, then said, then let's take the initiative to leave Sky Wolf City and lure them out. Hearing this, the 2 women were stunned. Cao Xian quickly said, Junior brother, you can't. We don't know their strength. If they're very strong, and we leave Sky Wolf City, there will be no one to save us. Wouldn't we be doomed? Since they don't dare to act in Sky Wolf City, it proves that person's strength is very high. Once they act, it's likely to be detected by the Scarlet Flame sect's experts. Cao Xian guessed that the opponent's strength was at least above Golden Immortal level. After all, the Golden Immortal who assassinated Lu Chen last time failed. They couldn't possibly send someone weaker than a Golden Immortal. Lu Chen said with a smile, Senior sister, have you forgotten that I still have a life-saving treasure left by my master? Thissa. Cao Xian reacted. That's right, Chen Lu is the Hall Master's personal disciple. Last time, he easily killed that Golden Immortal in Blackstone Valley. The methods the Hall Master left for Chen Lu should be able to withstand even Immortal King level experts, right? But how could an Immortal King personally deal with Chen Lu? The existence of an Immortal King, even if they revealed a trace of their aura, would be detected by the Hall Master who is currently in seclusion. Since it's not an immortal king coming, and Lu Chen has a means to resist immortal king attacks, then there's really nothing to worry about. At this moment, Cao Xian thought of what Xiao Zuying had said earlier, that Chen Lu is likely to be the future young Hall Master of the Profound Moon Hall. Their Hall Master values Chen Lu so much, the life-saving treasures he has probably aren't just one or two. Thinking of this, Cao Xian said, "Alright then, we'll listen to junior brother." Lu Chen then said, "Okay, let's go to Blackstone Valley again." Blackstone Valley is a good place for others to kill, and it's the same for Lu Chen. It just so happens that his immortal king curse can still be used once. Afterward, Lu Chen directly led Xiao Zuying and Cao Xian out of Sky Wolf City. Discovering that Lu Chen had left Sky Wolf City, immortal Lord Tianxiao sneered in his heart, thinking that the other party had discovered his existence and was planning to escape. What a fool. If they continued to stay in Sky Wolf City, he wouldn't dare to act. If he acted, it would attract people from the Scarlet Flame sect, but if they left Sky Wolf City, he wouldn't have to worry about that. Immortal Lord Tianxiao didn't hesitate and directly chased after the direction Lu Chen and the others had left. Lu Chen controlled the immortal ship and headed to Blackstone Valley at the fastest speed. Seeing how fast Lu Chen's immortal ship was, it made immortal Lord Tianxiao even more convinced of his guess, believing that Lu Chen and the others had discovered his existence and wanted to escape back to the Profound Moon Hall. However, he is an immortal lord. No matter how fast their immortal ship is, it can't be faster than him. After a day, Lu Chen's immortal ship stopped in the sky above Blackstone Valley. Immortal Lord Tianxiao directly released his divine sense. Now that he had left Sky Wolf City, he had become bolder. When immortal Lord Tianxiao discovered that Lu Chen's immortal ship had stopped, he was a little puzzled. Why weren't these three running anymore? This made immortal Lord Tianxiao vigilant. He then carefully investigated the situation in Blackstone Valley with his divine sense and discovered that there was an array below Blackstone Valley. Immortal Lord Tianxiao sneered. No wonder they weren't running, they wanted to use an array to deal with him. At this time, Cao Xian saw Lu Chen setting up an array and asked confusedly, "Junior brother, the array you're setting up shouldn't be able to trap that person, right?" The array Lu Chen was setting up at this moment was just a low-level array. Not to mention trapping a golden immortal, it would probably be difficult to trap even a celestial immortal. Lu Chen said, "I'm only doing this to lower that person's guard. If they kept running away and did nothing, it might make the other party think that there was a conspiracy." He was now deliberately setting up an array to let the other party notice that he was setting up an array. The other party would definitely think that they wanted to use this array to trap him, and that would make the person relax their guard. As soon as Lu Chen finished speaking, the three of them sensed a terrifying aura appearing not far away. Cao Xian and Xiao Zuying's expressions changed drastically. This aura. It's at least immortal lord level. However, when they thought of the life-saving treasure that Lu Chen had left by the Hall Master, the two women breathed a slight sigh of relief. The next moment, a red-haired man wearing a blood robe and exposing his chest appeared in the sky above Blackstone Valley. He sneered at Lu Chen and said, "Why aren't you running anymore?" Lu Chen didn't hesitate and shouted, "Array, activate." The next moment, a blue array barrier enveloped immortal Lord Tianxiao. Seeing the array in front of him, immortal Lord Tianxiao laughed and said, "You don't think you can stop this seat with just this array, do you?" At this time, immortal Lord Tianxiao still thought that Lu Chen just wanted to use this array to delay him and buy them time to escape, but he didn't know that Lu Chen had only activated it because the array had already been set up. The corners of Lu Chen's mouth rose slightly. He didn't intend to waste too much time on immortal Lord Tianxiao. Then he directly activated the Immortal King curse. The next moment, an Immortal King level power poured into Lu Chen's body. In an instant, dark clouds covered the sky, lightning flashed in the dark clouds, and a huge pressure was released from Lu Chen's body. Feeling the pressure on Lu Chen's body, the smile on Immortal Lord Tianxiao's face instantly froze. Immortala Immortal King. Immortal Lord Tianxiao realized that he had been tricked, but he clearly felt that this Immortal King power did not belong to Lu Chen. After he recovered, he shouted, "So what if you have this power? This seat wants to see how much the Profound Moon Hall Master's personal disciple is worth." As he spoke, Immortal Lord Tianxiao directly activated the evil art, and blood qi scattered around him. Although Immortal Lord Tianxiao was also startled by the Immortal King aura on Lu Chen's body just now, after reacting, he believed that even if a real Immortal King came, he could fight with the evil art they practiced. Moreover, the other party's Immortal King power was unstable. It was obvious that it didn't belong to the other party. What was he afraid of? Thinking of this, Immortal Lord Tianxiao immediately urged the evil art. Netherworld Demon Fiend Palm. Immortal Lord Tianxiao slapped out a palm, and a huge palm condensed with demonic energy descended from the sky and slapped towards Lu Chen and the other two. Seeing this scene, Lu Chen decisively used the Divine Illumination Thousand Lamp scripture. The other party was using an evil art at first glance, and it just so happened that the Divine Illumination Thousand Lamp scripture could suppress the other party. End of this chapter. Chapter 1298. I just want to see my old friend. After Lu Chen used the Divine Illumination Thousand Lamp scripture, countless lamps appeared in the sky, completely surrounding Celestial Lord Skyhowl. The instant these lamps appeared, Celestial Lord Skyhowl's palm strike dissipated into nothingness. Feeling the red light emanating from these lamps scorching his body and soul, Celestial Lord Skyhowl felt disbelief. What kind of technique is this? Why is it suppressing the celestial energy within me? The once arrogant Celestial Lord Skyhowl's face instantly turned pale. He knew that it was always evil immortals like them who suppressed righteous immortals, but now he was being suppressed by a righteous immortal instead. Lu Chen didn't waste words with Celestial Lord Skyhowl. After using the Divine Illumination Thousand Lamp scripture, Lu Chen immediately took out the Immortal Slaying Sword and unleashed a strike. The Immortal Slaying Sword's sword energy, wrapped in the red celestial energy emanating from the lamps of the Divine Illumination Thousand Lamp scripture, slashed towards Celestial Lord Skyhowl. Feeling the threat this sword energy posed to him, Celestial Lord Skyhowl immediately prepared to tear through space and escape. However, to his surprise, this space had already been sealed off by Lu Chen. What made him even more desperate was that the red celestial energy emanating from the lamps of the Divine Illumination Thousand Lamp scripture seemed to bind him, rendering his body completely immobile. Watching the approaching sword energy, Celestial Lord Skyhowl completely panicked. Everything was too strange. A terrestrial immortal instantly possessing the strength of an immortal king, and a technique that could suppress the celestial energy within him. He had never encountered these before. Celestial Lord Skyhowl hurriedly said, You can't kill me. I am an elder of the Blood Eagle Hall. If you kill me, the Blood Eagle Hall will surely flatten the Profound Moon Hall. Lu Chen ignored Celestial Lord Skyhowl's words and allowed the sword energy to fall. The moment the sword energy touched Celestial Lord Skyhowl's body, his body and soul immediately turned into a wisp of smoke, which was then completely blown away by the sword energy. When everything before her dissipated, Cao Xian stared blankly at the distant sky. If it weren't for the thousands of a deep pit in the ground, Cao Xian might have doubted whether she was dreaming. Less than 20 breaths of time had passed since that Celestial Lord caught up, and he was already gone. Their palace master must have left a wisp of divine soul in Chen Lu, otherwise how could Lu Chen have so easily dealt with a Celestial Lord? Their palace master really values Chen Lu. It seems that this Chen Lu really is the next palace master of the Profound Moon Hall. Thinking of this, Cao Xian became even more determined to avoid reporting to Yi Chuyao if possible. As a Profound Moon Palace disciple who left with Yun Yudi, she naturally stood on Yun Yudi's side. After Cao Xian came back to her senses, she changed her previous aloof demeanor, cleared her throat, and said to Lu Chen, Junior brother Chen, where are we going next? Lu Chen said, let's go to Upper Sand City. Saying this, Lu Chen muttered to himself, I wonder if Upper Sand City is still there. Cao Xian asked in confusion, may I ask what junior brother is going to Upper Sand City for? Lu Chen said, it's nothing, I just want to see an old friend. Hearing this, Cao Xian didn't ask any further questions. She directly controlled the immortal ship and flew towards Upper Sand City. Blood Eagle Hall. A room in a certain corpse peak. Ghost Fiend Immortal King was strangling the neck of a fairy, frantically sucking the blood energy from her body. Ghost Fiend Immortal King laughed and said, delicious, truly delicious. Just as Ghost Fiend Immortal King was happily sucking, a disciple rushed to neigh. A quarter micro. Before the disciple could open his mouth, the blood-red celestial energy on Ghost Fiend Immortal King's body shook, directly sending the disciple flying. Didn't you see I'm busy with important matters? After the disciple got up from the ground, he hurriedly knelt on the ground and kowtowed repeatedly, Vice Hall Master, spare me. Vice Hall Master, spare me. Ghost Fiend Immortal King threw the woman who had been sucked into a dried corpse onto the ground, and then said, Speak, what happened? Although Ghost Fiend Immortal King had a bad temper, he was not stupid. For a disciple to rush in so hastily at this time, interrupting his meal, something big must have happened. The disciple hurriedly said, Soulless soul lamp, Elder Skyhowl's soul lamp has been extinguished. Hearing this, Ghost Fiend Immortal King was stunned. The next moment, the surging blood energy in his body poured out, directly causing the entire corpse peak beneath him to shake. The extinguishing of the soul lamp meant that Celestial Lord Skyhowl had already fallen. Celestial Lord Skyhowl was at least a Celestial Lord, and he was also an evil immortal. Even if he encountered an immortal king, or even two immortal kings besieging him, he should have had no problem escaping. How could he have fallen? After Ghost Fiend Immortal King's rage, he immediately transmitted a message to Shu Jingzhu, who was still in Skywolf City, asking Shu Jingzhu to investigate how Celestial Lord Skyhowl had fallen. At this time, Ghost Fiend Immortal King looked at the distant mountains of corpses and seas of blood and said, It seems that the Palace Master of the Profound Moon Hall has some skills. As expected of someone who came from the Profound Moon Palace. I must hurry up. If she breaks through to the immortal venerable realm, it will be troublesome. A few days later. Blackstone Valley. Shu Jingzhu stood in the air above Blackstone Valley, looking down slightly at the huge sword pit in front of her, and couldn't help but feel a little shocked. This sword, at least has the strength of an immortal king. Shu Jingzhu carefully sensed it again. There was no trace of blood energy in the air. Celestial Lord Skyhowl seemed to have never been to this place. But a few days ago, she did sense that Celestial Lord Skyhowl was coming in this direction, and there must have been a battle here, otherwise such a big sword pit would not have appeared out of thin air. Shu Jingzhu thought to herself, could it be that Celestial Lord Skyhowl was not the one who fought here? Did Celestial Lord Skyhowl fall in another place? Shu Jingzhu looked in the direction of the Profound Moon Hall. After seeing this sword pit, she didn't dare to continue forward. She was afraid that she would expose her identity and bring about a fatal disaster. At this moment, a faint trace of red celestial energy drifted out of the sword pit in Blackstone Valley. When her body touched this trace of celestial energy, her body and soul immediately produced a very strong burning sensation. Shu Jingzhu was shocked. What is this celestial energy? It can actually suppress the evil energy in her body. This was the first time she had encountered this kind of celestial energy. Shu Jingzhu realized how terrifying this trace of celestial energy was for the Blood Eagle Hall. She quickly transmitted the news here to Ghost Fiend Immortal King. In the past, evil immortals suppressed righteous immortals, but now the celestial energy of righteous immortals can actually suppress evil immortals, then the advantage of evil immortals no longer exists. After Shu Jingzhu reported the discovery of Blackstone Valley, she quickly left this place. The celestial energy remaining in the sword pit made her feel very uncomfortable. Upper Sand City. An immortal ship emitting celestial energy was traveling in the cloudless sky. Seeing this immortal ship, the people of Upper Sand City looked up at the sky. Upper Sand City is a city built in the desert. There is a top-grade spiritual vein here. Because of the existence of this spiritual vein, an oasis has appeared in this vast desert. However, spiritual veins will also have times when their spiritual energy is exhausted. This spiritual vein has persisted for billions of years, and there is very little spiritual energy left in this spiritual vein. Because of the spiritual vein, except for the local immortals, no foreign immortals have appeared here for tens of thousands of years. End of chapter. Chapter 1299. Shangxia City was located in a vast desert, making it difficult for ordinary people to traverse, resulting in relative isolation. Although immortals could cross this desert, they typically chose to cultivate or settle in places with abundant spiritual energy. Shangxia City lacked spiritual energy, opportunities, and a substantial population, deterring even rogue immortals. The Shangxia City of today was far from the prosperous metropolis it was billions of years ago. Its outer city was filled with houses buried in yellow sand, and even the inner city was sparsely populated. Seeing Shangsha city reduced to such a desolate state filled Lu Chen with emotion, realizing that time could indeed change everything. When he had passed through Shangsha city in the past, it was incredibly prosperous, boasting numerous immortal lord-level beings. After arriving above Shangsha city, Lu Chen immediately released his divine sense, as if searching for something. Soon, Lu Chen found what he was looking for, and immediately flew down from the immortal ship, heading straight for that place. Seeing Lu Chen leave the immortal ship, Xiao Zuying and Cao Xian also descended, and then Cao Xian stored the immortal ship back into her small world. Before long, Lu Chen led the two women to a sand dune. Seeing this sand dune, the two women were even more puzzled. What was their junior brother doing? Lu Chen then raised his hand and used immortal energy to move the entire sand dune. In a short while, all the sand in front of them disappeared. After the surrounding sand was removed, a stone tomb appeared before them. There was a stele in front of the tomb, but it had no inscription, possibly due to weathering over time. There were traces of formations on the stone tomb, indicating that it must have been protected by formations in the past, but the formations collapsed after not being maintained by spiritual energy for too long. Without this formation, this stone tomb might have ceased to exist long ago. Seeing this stone tomb, the two women were curious about who the person buried inside was to Lu Chen, but they didn't feel it was appropriate to ask in the current situation. Lu Chen came to the stele and used his divine sense to explore the entire stone tomb. Then, he took out some spirit stones from his space ring and arranged a new formation on the stone tomb. After doing all this, Lu Chen moved the yellow sand that had previously covered the stone tomb back, allowing it to continue covering the tomb. Then, Lu Chen turned around and walked towards Shangsha city, and the two women quickly followed. At this time, Cao Xian couldn't suppress her curiosity any longer and asked, "Junior brother, was that a relative of yours?" Lu Chen smiled and replied, "You could say that. Buried in the stone tomb just now was another maid who had taken care of him when he was young. After his defeat, on the road to escape, that maid blocked an immortal king's sneak attack for him. At that time, the retreat was relatively hasty, so Lu Chen buried her body in Shangsha city." After hearing Lu Chen's answer, Cao Xian didn't ask any more questions. Xiao Zuying thought to herself that the person buried in the stone tomb, whom Lu Chen personally came to pay respects to, was likely one of Lu Chen's wives or concubines. The three quickly arrived at the city gate of Shangsha city. There were some mortal cultivators wearing golden armor at the city gate, and their cultivation levels were mostly in the nascent soul realm. The fact that nascent soul cultivators were guarding the gate indicated that the city lord of Shangsha city was not an ordinary person. In the celestial domain of Tianyan, above the nascent soul realm were the transformation god, great vehicle, and tribulation transcending realms. After tribulation transcending, one could become immortal. Although the mere nascent soul realm was nothing to immortals, nascent soul cultivators were still quite powerful in the mortal world. The fact that the gatekeepers were all nascent soul cultivators proved that the one managing this city was not a mortal, but an immortal. Lu Chen thought to himself that Shangsha city wasn't too desolate after all. Even though the spiritual veins were almost dissipated, there was still an immortal sitting in Shangsha city. Lu Chen walked directly towards the city gate, saying as he walked, "Senior Sister Cao, I plan to stay in Shangsha city for a while." Cao Xian said, "Experience is about training the heart. Junior brother can stay wherever you want." Lu Chen didn't say much and walked directly towards the city gate of Shangsha city. Soon, the three arrived at the city gate. Seeing the three of them, the nascent soul soldiers in charge of guarding the gate immediately stopped them. "Who goes there?" Seeing someone blocking the way, Cao Xian released the immortal energy from her body without saying a word. Sensing the pressure of an immortal from Cao Xian, the soldiers were stunned, but they still didn't make way. Seeing that they didn't make way, Cao Xian took out the Profound Moon Palace's identity token from her space ring. However, to their surprise, the soldiers still didn't make way. Cao Xian said coldly, "What? Don't you even recognize the token of the upper sect?" Hearing this, several soldiers looked at each other, and then bowed to Lu Chen and the others, saying, "Greetings, envoys of the upper sect." But after bowing, the soldiers still didn't make way. Seeing this scene, Cao Xian asked coldly, "What is the meaning of this? Since you already know that we are immortals of the Profound Moon Palace, why are you still not letting us pass?" At this time, one of the soldiers said, "Envoy, our city lord has ordered that during his seclusion, no immortals are allowed to enter Shangxia city, not even envoys of the upper sect." Hearing this, Cao Xian frowned slightly. Envoys of the upper sect were not allowed to enter Shangxia city. Shangxia city was just a small city within the profound Moon Palace's sphere of influence. How dare their city lord not allow immortals of the profound Moon Palace to enter? This was truly strange. The city lord of Shangxia city was extraordinarily bold, daring to refuse the envoys of the profound Moon Palace entry, which was no different from betraying the profound Moon Palace. Hearing Cao Xian's words, the soldiers present broke out in cold sweat, but they still didn't make way. Cao Xian increased the pressure on her body. In the next moment, those immortal soldiers were directly forced to their knees by the pressure from her body. One of the soldiers quickly said, "Envoy, it's not that we don't want to let you adults enter Shangxia city, but if we let you adults enter Shangxia city, this humble one and the clansmen behind this humble one will all die." Hearing this person's words, Lu Chen and the others couldn't help but feel like laughing. Then Lu Chen said, "Could it be that you think that by blocking the envoys of the upper sect will spare you and your clansmen? Or are you saying that you think the envoys of the upper sect are more benevolent than your city lord?" Hearing this, the gatekeepers all showed bitter expressions. Lu Chen thought to himself that judging from their appearance, the current city lord of Shangxia city was probably not a kind person. These people would rather offend the envoys of the upper sect than dare to offend the city lord. End of this chapter. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 1300. Lu Chen was too lazy to say anything to these mortals. With a wave of his hand, a surge of immortal power sent all the soldiers flying. Immediately after, he walked directly towards Shangxia city. The outer city of Shangxia city was very desolate, with hardly anyone around. Only a few scattered people could be seen. Lu Chen walked directly towards the inner city. Just then, a team of soldiers suddenly appeared in front of him. In a short while, these soldiers surrounded Lu Chen and the other two. "Who are you? How dare you trespass into Shangxia city?" Lu Chen scanned the strength of these soldiers. Their cultivation levels were all at the Great Ascension stage, and the leader was at the Tribulation Transcending stage. They were just mortals, and Lu Chen was too lazy to waste words with them. He directly released his immortal pressure. In the next moment, all the soldiers present weary paragraph mark on the ground, unable to move. Lu Chen took a step forward, and in the next moment, his figure appeared in front of the Tribulation Transcending cultivator. Lu Chen directly used soul-searching technique to see what they had experienced. After Lu Chen finished reading the Tribulation Transcending cultivator's memory, Lu Chen murmured, "So that's how it is. No wonder these people aren't afraid of death at all." Cao Xian came to Lu Chen and asked, "Junior brother Chen, what did you discover?" Lu Chen said, "The city lord of Shangxia city is using the essence and blood of cultivators to cultivate, and he is threatening the major families of Shangxia city. If anyone dares to leak this matter, he will slaughter everyone in their family." Hearing Lu Chen's words, Cao Xian and Xiao Zuying were both stunned. Using the essence and blood of cultivators to cultivate, could it be an evil immortal from the Blood Eagle Hall? Thinking of this, the two women immediately took out their spiritual swords from their spatial rings and instantly became vigilant. Lu Chen then said to the soldiers present, "Don't you think that by keeping this a secret for that evil immortal, this matter won't be spread? How laughable. Others are treating you as food reserves, but you still want to protect that person." Hearing Lu Chen's words, one of the soldiers said unwillingly, "What else can we do? We can't leave Shangxia city at all. That immortal's strength is so powerful, we can't possibly deal with him." Lu Chen chuckled and was too lazy to waste words with these people. These people had already lost their spirit of resistance. Even if they had a chance to save themselves, they wouldn't seize it. Lu Chen then spread out his aura and used his divine sense to search for the city lord of Shangxia city. Just then, Lu Chen's divine sense suddenly noticed something, and he immediately flew into the air and then unleashed a sword strike. The majestic sword energy surged directly towards a certain place in the city lord's mansion. Sensing the threat of the sword energy, an immortal's voice came from the city lord's mansion. "Shangxia city is not a place for you to come." Hearing this, Lu Chen sneered and said, "Shangxia city is a city of the profound moon hall. When did it become yours, you evil immortal?" Perhaps stimulated by hearing the words, "evil immortal," A surge of red, violent spiritual energy formed a tornado and flew out of the city lord's mansion, heading straight for Lu Chen. The tornado collided with Lu Chen's sword energy and exploded in the air. Neither of them exerted much effort, just a tentative move. Both of them were immortals. If they let go, the entire Shangxia city would be destroyed. The current Shangxia city no longer had any formations. Even the attack of a mortal would be unbearable for the entire Shangxia city. At this moment, a red figure flew out of the city lord's mansion and flew towards the vast sea of sand in the distance of Shangxia city. Lu Chen didn't hesitate at all and chased after him directly. Cao Xian and Xiao Zuying also quickly followed. Before long, Lu Chen caught up with the red figure. The other party had no intention of running at all. From his appearance, he was deliberately luring Lu Chen into the sea of sand to avoid damaging Shangxia city when they fought. At this moment, the fleeing immortal was suspended in the air, looking back at Lu Chen. The man was wearing a red robe and a ghost mask. When the man saw Lu Chen, he was immediately stunned. It's Yua. Noah, impossible, how could you still be Olivia? As the man spoke, his body couldn't help but tremble. Although he was wearing a mask and his expression couldn't be seen, it could be seen from his voice and trembling body that he was very afraid. Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. Judging from this person's meaning, this person knew him. Impossible, he hadn't been back for billions of years. He had actually encountered so many people who knew him as soon as he came back. It seemed that he would have to use disguise techniques in the future. Although people with higher cultivation levels than him could see through his disguise techniques, it was still necessary to use disguise techniques to guard against those with lower cultivation levels than him. However, it could be heard from this person's words that he should be his enemy, otherwise he wouldn't be afraid of him. Lu Chen glanced coldly at the man opposite him. As he spoke, Lu Chen probed the aura of the man opposite him and found that the man was just a mortal immortal. A mortal immortal shouldn't know him, right? The people who still knew him should have reached the heavenly immortal realm at the very least, otherwise they would have reached their lifespan long ago. Immediately, Lu Chen used the system to identify him. A name, Yang Yana. A identity, former subordinate of King Chen, city lord of Shangxia City. A strength, mortal immortala. A loyalty, 0. Seeing this information, Lu Chen instantly reacted. No wonder this person knew him, he was a traitor. Lu Chen sneered and then said, isn't this General Yang? How did you fall to this state today? Yang Yan didn't betray him immediately when he saw the major forces besieging him. Instead, he stayed by his side and provided his whereabouts to other forces. If it weren't for Yang Yan, he might have been able to hide in the heavenly evolution immortal domain. In the end, he was forced to escape to White Feather City. With nowhere to go, he could only lead his wives and concubines into the primal chaos sea. If Yang Yan had chosen to leave from the beginning, Lu Chen wouldn't have felt anything. At that time, so many top forces in the heavenly evolution immortal domain were besieging him. In that situation, an immortal king like him had no chance of winning. But Yang Yan didn't leave immediately. Instead, he lurked by his side and informed the major forces. The maid buried outside Shangxia City was killed because of Yang Yan's tip-off. Feeling the death aura emanating from Yang Yan's body, Lu Chen felt somewhat ironic in his heart. A dignified immortal lord had actually become like this. Hearing Lu Chen's words, Yang Yan directly mobilized the immortal energy in his body and then slammed a palm towards Lu Chen. I have fallen to this state today, all because of you. In the next moment, Yang Yan's palm turned into countless yin souls. These yin souls were all yin souls of immortals. The moment the yin souls appeared, the sky above the sea of sand was instantly shrouded in dark clouds, and the surroundings instantly darkened. Yang Yan could naturally sense that Lu Chen's cultivation was higher than his, but hatred had already made him lose his mind. Chapter 1301 Junior Brother, there was something strange about that person's aura just now. Seeing Yang Yan's palm strike, Lu Chen chuckled. Not to mention that Yang Yan was now only in the mortal immortal realm, with strength weaker than his own. The power he used also carried an evil nature, which was perfectly suppressed by the divine illumination thousand lamp scripture. Yang Yan rushing over so directly was simply courting death. Lu Chen didn't hesitate at all, immediately using the divine illumination thousand lamp scripture. In an instant, countless lamps appeared in the sky above the sand sea, and then red immortal energy emanated from these lamps. When those red immortal energies came into contact with the yin spirits released by Yang Yan, those yin spirits instantly turned into light spots and disappeared into the air. Google search Tuacan. In just a moment, Yang Yan's palm strike was dissolved. Yang Yan, who had just lost his mind due to hatred, instantly sobered up at this moment. Seeing that Lu Chen had easily dissolved his attack, Yang Yan felt a trace of fear in his heart. Originally, he thought that the cultivation technique he practiced could suppress Lu Chen. Even if Lu Chen's cultivation was higher than his, he would still have the power to fight. However, Lu Chen was able to easily withstand his attack, and he even felt a huge oppressive force at this moment. The light emanating from the oil lamps in the sky made him feel as if the immortal energy in his body was being imprisoned. Yang Yan said in disbelief, "How could this be?" Lu Chen said at this time, "General Yang, the power in your body is a bit evil. Could it be that you have joined the Blood Eagle Hall?" Hearing Lu Chen's words, Yang Yan immediately thought of his experiences over the years. In an instant, his eyes turned blood red, and the evil energy on his body became heavier and heavier. Feeling the evil energy emanating from Yang Yan's body, Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. He didn't know why, but he found that the evil energy emanating from Yang Yan's body was somewhat like the power of the primordial chaos beast. Lu Chen continued to urge the divine illumination thousand lamp scripture. In an instant, the oil lamps in the sky above the sand sea shone brightly, and the red immortal energy enveloped the area where they were. At this time, Yang Yan took out a pill and directly stuffed it into his mouth. The next moment, his body began to distort, and countless tentacles grew out of his flesh. Seeing this scene, Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. Before Lu Chen could recover, he saw Yang Yan waving his huge tentacles and attacking him. These tentacles exuded a strong evil aura, vaguely making Lu Chen feel some threat. However, just as these tentacles were about to touch Lu Chen, the light of the oil lamps of the divine illumination thousand lamp scripture gathered together, forming a red silk. This red silk instantly surrounded Yang Yan and those tentacles. The next moment, Lu Chen heard Yang Yan's wailing from inside the red silk, and wisps of white smoke emanated from the cracks in the red silk. Lu Chen realized that something was wrong and quickly withdrew his hand. If he killed Yang Yan now, he would have no way of knowing what had just happened. Moreover, Yang Yan did indeed have the aura of a primordial chaos beast on him. He believed that his feeling was correct. Fortunately, Lu Chen withdrew his hand in time. Although Yang Yan's physical body had been destroyed, his divine soul was barely intact. Lu Chen came to Yang Yan in one step. After witnessing Lu Chen's methods just now, Yang Yan, who had turned into a divine soul state, hurriedly begged for mercy, "Your Majesty, spare me. I was forced to betray you back then." Lu Chen ignored what Yang Yan said and directly used soul searching on Yang Yan. The next moment, a huge memory poured into Lu Chen's mind. Yang Yan's memories of the past tens of billions of years flashed through Lu Chen's mind. However, just as Lu Chen was about to read a certain memory, Yang Yan suddenly let out a painful wail. Ah, 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 ah. Lu Chen immediately realized that he had touched a divine soul restriction, and he quickly used space teleportation to leave this place. The next moment, Yang Yan's divine soul exploded violently. Fortunately, Lu Chen dodged quickly enough and was not affected. Lu Chen looked at the cloud of white smoke rising in the distance due to the explosion, and Lu Chen recalled the memories he had just seen in his mind. After Yang Yan betrayed him, he thought he could gain the reuse of King Guangren Lu Jingfu with this credit. However, what he didn't expect was that Lu Jingfu didn't reuse him, and he was quickly marginalized. Later, Yang Yan wanted to ask Lu Jingfu for some cultivation resources that Lu Jingfu had initially promised him to break through to the Immortal King realm. As a result, Lu Jingfu only gave him some immortal crystals. Yang Yan was so angry that he directly turned against Lu Jingfu. Lu Jingfu didn't indulge him either. Taking Yang Yan's betrayal of the Tianxia Immortal Dynasty as an excuse, he sent people to hunt him down. Although Yang Yan had escaped the pursuit many times, his realm and strength had also dropped significantly. Due to the decline in his realm, his lifespan had also dropped significantly. In the following tens of billions of years, in order to survive, he joined various forces and looked for various ways to extend his lifespan. Yang Yan was already an immortal lord tens of billions of years ago. His lifespan was about to end. He asked Lu Jingfu for cultivation resources, wanting to break through to the immortal king realm in order to extend his life. As a result, he was severely injured by the people sent by Lu Jingfu, and his lifespan became even shorter. However, Yang Yan used various methods to extend his lifespan and managed to survive until now. Hundreds of years ago, Yang Yan was swept into a secret realm by a spatial turbulence. In that space, he found a huge coffin. Yang Yan's memory stopped here, and then Yang Yan's divine soul exploded. Obviously, the owner of that coffin was not simple. He had placed a restriction deep in Yang Yan's divine soul. As long as someone used soul searching to find out about him, they would touch the restriction. Lu Chen thought to himself that Lu Jingfu was really stingy. Yang Yan, an immortal lord-level combat power, was unwilling to give even a little cultivation resource. Lu Chen can also understand why Lu Jingfu would do this. After all, Yang Yan himself is a relatively ordinary immortal lord. His talent is not very good, and the possibility of breaking through to Immortal King is relatively small. If he continues to invest resources in him, if he fails, those resources will be wasted. To allow an immortal lord with low talent to break through and become an immortal king, the resources invested must be massive. There is also one point. Yang Yan is just a traitor. He can betray King Chen, and he can also betray Lu Jingfu. If Lu Jingfu's subordinates have immortal lords with better talents, then Lu Jingfu will definitely give all the resources to those immortal lords with higher talents to impact the immortal king realm. How could he possibly give the resources to Yang Yan? However, Yang Yan attributed all of this to King Chen's fault. Lu Chen was a little speechless. He had already run to the Chaos Sea, and Yang Yan betrayed him, but Yang Yan believed that his experience was his fault. I don't know if this is because Yang Yan's mind was corroded by the evil energy in his body. Just as Lu Chen was distracted, Cao Xian and Xiao Zuying came to Lu Chen. They originally wanted to participate in the battle just now, but it ended too quickly, and the evil aura emanating from Yang Yan made both of them feel chills. Xiao Zuying said, "Junior brother, the immortal energy on that person just now was strange." End of this chapter. Chapter 1302. Junior sister Xiao, I plan to stay in seclusion for a few years. Hearing Xiao Zuying's words, Lu Chen came back to his senses. Yes, there is indeed something strange. Cao Xian said, "Junior brother, did you search that person's soul just now?" Feeling the fear that the power brought to her, Cao Xian wondered if Yang Yan was a spy planted by the Blood Eagle Hall. Lu Chen replied, "No, I was just about to use the soul-searching technique on him, but his soul directly self-destructed." Cao Xian said with some regret, "It seems that his soul was restricted by someone. He is probably also an undercover agent of the Blood Eagle Hall." Xiao Zuying said, "This person should not be an undercover agent planted by the Blood Eagle Hall. The spiritual veins in Shangsha City are exhausted, and the spiritual energy is thin. It is not valuable. If the Blood Eagle Hall wants to plant an undercover agent, they would not plant one in this place." Lu Chen said, "He may not necessarily be an undercover agent of the Blood Eagle Hall." Although Yang Yan also exuded evil energy, his memories could not be read after seeing the giant coffin. This proves that the evil energy on him is likely to come from that giant coffin. Of course, it is also possible that Yang Yan has already joined the Blood Eagle Hall. After all, both Yang Yan and those immortals of the Blood Eagle Hall are evil immortals. But Xiao Zuying is right, if Yang Yan is really an undercover agent, why would he come to Shangsha City to be an undercover agent? Lu Chen said, "The person is already dead. Let's go back and take a look at the City Lord's mansion. Maybe we can find something about his identity from the City Lord's mansion." After the words fell, Lu Chen took the two women to the City Lord's mansion of Shangsha City. The cultivators in Shangsha City sensed the battle just now. The terrifying power made the cultivators in Shangsha City feel very scared. At the same time, they were also expecting Yang Yan to be defeated by the foreign immortals. After Lu Chen returned to Shangsha City, he directly transmitted his voice to everyone in Shangsha City. The evil immortal Yang Yan is dead. The heads of all major families in Shangsha City, come to the City Lord's mansion immediately. After hearing Lu Chen's words, the cultivators were both happy and worried. They were happy that Yang Yan, the evil immortal, was finally dead, but they were worried that the immortals who came were the same kind of people as Yang Yan. Even if they were worried, the heads of the major families in Shangxia City still went to the city lord's mansion as soon as possible. The newly arrived immortal was able to kill Yang Yan in such a short period of time, so his strength must be stronger than Yang Yan. There was no way for these cultivation families to resist what he wanted to do. Lu Chen carefully explored the entire city lord's mansion with his divine sense, and soon discovered a secret room. After entering the secret room, the white bones of cultivators could be seen everywhere, as well as some wailing souls. Lu Chen searched around the secret room, but besides the bones and souls, he didn't find anything else. These things alone are not enough to prove that Yang Yan had any dealings with the Blood Eagle Hall. Lu Chen thought to himself that Yang Yan came to Shangxia City, a place where spiritual veins were exhausted, probably to avoid attracting attention. After all, he is an evil immortal. If the righteous immortals find out that he is using the essence and blood of cultivators to maintain his lifespan, they will definitely attack him. There are almost no immortals coming to Shangxia City. It is not easy for ordinary cultivators to escape from Shangxia City. It is very suitable for him to hide. The area of the sand sea outside Shangxia City is larger than the surface area of Jupiter. Looking around, it is all yellow sand. If a cultivator enters it, he may get lost. Moreover, there are other dangers in the sand sea. Many cultivators have tried to escape, but they eventually died in the sand sea. After searching the city lord's mansion of Shangxia City, Lu Chen came to the main hall of the city lord's mansion. At this time, the heads of the major families were already waiting in the main hall. Just as everyone was anxious, Lu Chen entered the hall. He glanced at everyone present. The family heads present were basically tribulation-transcending cultivators, only one step away from breaking through and becoming mortal immortals. After Lu Chen glanced at everyone present, he said, "The evil immortal has been eliminated. I will stay in Shangxia City for a period of time. During this time, I will choose one person to become the new city lord of Shangxia City." Hearing this, the Zhang family head asked, "Sir, I wonder if after becoming the city lord, can I leave Shangxia City and go to other cities?" Hearing this question, Lu Chen asked back, "What you want to ask is whether you can leave Shangxia City, right?" When Yang Yan was the city lord, he was afraid that the cultivators of Shangxia City would leak his news, so he neither allowed outsiders to enter Shangxia City nor allowed the cultivators of Shangxia City to leave. So what the Zhang family head wants to ask is whether the city lord has the privilege to leave Shangxia City. From now on, even if you are not the city lord, no one will stop you from leaving Shangxia City if you want to. The spiritual veins in Shangxia City have been exhausted. If these tribulation-transcending cultivators want to break through and become mortal immortals, they must leave Shangxia City and go to places with abundant spiritual energy. Lu Chen continued, "In addition, I will help the new city lord directly become an immortal." Hearing Lu Chen's words, everyone present suddenly became excited. Some of them have poor talent and have been stuck in the tribulation-transcending stage for who knows how many years. Some of them are even approaching their lifespan limit. Even if they can leave Shangxia City, they may not be able to break through. It is even uncertain whether they can walk out of the sand sea outside Shangxia City. If they can become the city lord, they don't have to risk leaving Shangxia City, which makes them not excited. For a time, the heads of the major families stood up one after another. "Sir, this little one is willing to be the city lord of Shangxia City. Sir, this little one is also willing to be the city lord of Shangxia City. Sir, our Xia family has the longest history in Shangxia City, and our ancestors have also been the city lord of Shangxia City." Lu Chen said, "Since everyone wants to become the city lord, then it is better to follow the rules of the cultivation world and respect strength. In a few days, I will set up a ring in the sand sea outside the city. All cultivators above the Mahayana stage can participate. Whoever wins will be the new city lord. Let's do this for today. You can go back and prepare." After the words fell, Lu Chen's body disappeared in place. After the family heads of Shangxia City left, Lu Chen, Xiao Zuying, and Cao Xian came to a courtyard in the city lord's mansion. At this time, Cao Xian asked, "Junior brother Chen, how long do you plan to stay in Shangxia City?" If it was at the beginning, Cao Xian felt that Lu Chen could stay as long as he wanted, but after coming to Shangxia City, she found that the spiritual veins in Shangxia City were exhausted, and she felt that continuing to stay in Shangxia City would not help Lu Chen's cultivation. Lu Chen said, "Stay for a few years. Hearing Lu Chen's words, Cao Xian breathed a sigh of relief. If it was a few years, it would be fine. For them immortals, a few years would pass in the blink of an eye. Lu Chen said at this time, Senior Sister Cao, Senior Sister Xiao, I will go to practice first. The two women said in unison, okay. After Lu Chen went to the room he chose, Cao Xian looked at Xiao Zuying and said, Junior Sister Xiao, I plan to retreat for a few years. During these years, I will trouble you to take care of junior brother Chen. If there is anything, you will wake me up immediately. Hearing Cao Xian's words, she was slightly stunned. Chapter 1303. Cao Xian is going into seclusion. This is a great thing. Once she goes into seclusion, wouldn't I and Lu Chen be able to Just thinking about the things she and Lu Chen did in Tinlong City, a blush appeared on Xiao Zuying's jade cheeks. Seeing Xiao Zuying in a daze, Cao Xian asked in confusion, Junior Sister Xiao, what's wrong with you? Xiao Zuying came back to her senses and quickly said, Senior Sister, please go into seclusion with peace of mind, I will take good care of junior brother Chen. Afterwards, Cao Xian explained some things to Xiao Zuying, and she directly found a secret room in the city lord's mansion to begin her seclusion. In the evening, as soon as Cao Xian entered the secret room for seclusion, Lu Chen's figure appeared in Xiao Zuying's room. Feeling Lu Chen's aura, Xiao Zuying, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed cultivating, opened her eyes, and a blush appeared on her cheeks when she saw Lu Chen. Lu Chen said with a smile, Senior Sister Cao seems to have gone into seclusion. Xiao Zuying lightly said, Lu Chen appeared in her room, how could she not know what Lu Chen was going to do next? Lu Chen did not hesitate at all, he went directly to Xiao Zuying's bedside and sat down, then pressed Xiao Zuying under him. White Feather City. Through the careful management of Lu Zheng's and Liao Shaoshuang, White Feather City has now grown stronger again. The development of White Feather City has also attracted the attention of some cities. In this vicinity near the chaotic sea, there are no immortal king-level forces, so this area is relatively chaotic. For the cities near the chaotic sea, the population is of utmost importance. In the past, White Feather City was a city with a net outflow of population, which made other cities feel that White Feather City was not a threat. However, recently, the expansion speed of White Feather City has become faster and faster, and the population has become larger and larger. Many mortals who were originally going to other cities ended up going to White Feather City instead. Outside White Feather City, a man wearing a purple robe stood on the top of a mountain, his eyes staring straight at White Feather City. At this moment, a subordinate who was investigating information came to the man, City Lord, the situation has been investigated, Lu Zheng's has not broken through, he is still just a celestial immortal. Hearing this, Jia Wenrui, the City Lord of Purple Moon City, snorted coldly, an old man whose body is halfway into the soil, what is he fighting with me for people? Purple Moon City is not far from White Feather City. In the past, the population of White Feather City flowed into Purple Moon City, but recently, White Feather City suddenly began to accept refugees, and launched various people-benefiting policies, even providing mortals with cultivation methods. This caused the refugees and immortal cultivators who originally planned to join Purple Moon City to choose to join White Feather City instead. Jia Wenrui really couldn't understand what Lu Zheng's wanted to do. Logically speaking, Lu Zheng's was about to die, and Lu Zheng's and Liao Shaoshuang had no children. Where did they get the motivation to manage White Feather City? He also knew what White Feather City was like before. Jia Wenrui suddenly thought of something later. Could it be that Lu Zheng's had broken through, his lifespan had increased, breaking the limit, so he had the motivation to manage White Feather City, and that's why he launched a series of policies. In order to find out what was going on, Jia Wenrui asked people to disguise themselves as merchants and sneak into White Feather City to investigate the situation. As a result, the news they found out was that Lu Zheng's had not broken through. Lu Zheng's, this old thing, what is he doing if he hasn't broken through? Wait a minutia. Jia Wenrui suddenly thought of something, turned his head and asked, is Liao Shaoshuang pregnant? If they had children, perhaps it could explain why Lu Zheng's would start to re-manage White Feather City. After all, they would have to leave some resources for their children. The scout replied, reporting, My lord, we have not found any signs of Liao Shaoshuang being pregnant. Hearing the scout's answer, Jia Wenrui fell into deep thought. It wasn't because he had broken through, nor was it because he had children, so why was Lu Zheng's making such a fuss? Jia Wenrui then said, "Go and grab a soldier from the city lord's mansion." "Yes, city lord." In the next moment, the scout disappeared in place, and Jia Wenrui's eyes continued to look at White Feather City. Jia Wenrui said to himself, "A dying person should stay in the cultivation room, maybe he can live a few more years." Not long after, the scout grabbed a soldier from the White Feather City Lord's mansion and brought him to Jia Wenrui's presence. "City Lord, the person has been brought." Feeling the aura on Jia Wenrui's body, the White Feather City soldier immediately knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. "Senior, spare my life." Jia Wenrui glanced at the mortal soldier in front of him. He did not hesitate at all, and directly used the soul-searching technique on the soldier. Instead of questioning this soldier, it would be faster to directly search his soul. In the next moment, Jia Wenrui saw many things from this soldier's memory. He saw an immortal king, he saw a person who fell from the sky. Wait a minutia. That person Isa. When Jia Wenrui saw the person who landed in the city lord's mansion, Jia Wenrui's face changed drastically. He seemed to understand why Lu Zheng's had been vigorously developing White Feather City recently. Jia Wenrui murmured, "It's Hima he's back. How is it possible? Wasn't he dead? How could he still be alive?" Jia Wenrui had never seen that person with his own eyes, but his grandparents used to be old subordinates of King Chen, and he had seen King Chen's appearance through some projection crystals. After their grandparents waited in White Feather City for hundreds of millions of years, seeing that King Chen was still unable to come out of the chaotic sea, they believed that King Chen had already fallen, so they chose to leave White Feather City. Leaving White Feather City was a kind of betrayal to King Chen. After all, King Chen had asked them to wait for him to return in White Feather City. Jia Wenrui was panicked because he was afraid that King Chen would settle accounts with people like them. After Jia Wenrui panicked, a smile couldn't help but appear on his face. If that person really comes back, I believe many people will be interested in this news. He was just a descendant of King Chen's old subordinates, and he had no loyalty to King Chen at all. Jia Wenrui thought to himself, if he sold the news of King Chen's resurrection to some people, he would definitely be able to obtain a lot of resources. In that case, he would not be far from breaking through. Then Jia Wenrui said to the scout, "You guys continue to keep an eye on it." As soon as he finished speaking, Jia Wenrui turned around and left. Next, he had to think about who to sell this news to, and how to get in touch with those who were interested in this news. In the blink of an eye, another 2 years have passed. In these 2 years, under the leadership of Yi Chuyao, the Zanyu Hall signed a treaty of alliance with the Kai Yan sect. The treaty stipulates that if either the Zanyu Hall or the Kai Yan sect is attacked by the Blood Eagle Hall, they must unconditionally help the other side resist the invasion of the Blood Eagle Hall. This alliance treaty is only a defensive treaty. After all, the Blood Eagle Hall has 3 immortal kings, and the immortal king of the Zanyu Hall is still in seclusion. With the strength of the Zanyu Hall and the Kai Yan sect, attacking the Blood Eagle Hall would be courting death. It would be better for them to strengthen their defenses, mainly with formations, to resist the invasion of the evil immortals of the Blood Eagle Hall. At this moment, Zanyu Hall, Yi Chuyao, dressed in a green dress, stood on the cliff, looking in the direction of Shangxia City. In front of her, there is a blue projection screen. In the screen, there is a red dot, and the location of the red dot is where Shangxia City is located. End of this chapter. Chapter 1304 Cao Xian exits. When Xiao Zuying and Cao Xian left the Zanyu Palace, Yi Chuyao left tracking jade pendants on both of them, allowing her to monitor their location at any time. Seeing the red dot stop at Shangxia City, Yi Chuyao was somewhat puzzled. After the spiritual veins of Shangxia City withered, few people were willing to go there. Shangxia City used to be a large city, and the Zanyu Palace even built a teleportation array there, but now Shangxia City is a barren land. What is Chen Lu doing running to Shangxia City? Although Chen Lu's trip to the mortal world this time is only for red dust tempering, a place without spiritual energy will not help his cultivation. If his state of mind breaks through, he will need a lot of spiritual energy. Could it be that Shangxia City has something he finds important? Thinking of this, Yi Chuyao took out a jade pendant from her spatial ring and activated it directly. At the same time, inside a secret room in Shangxia City. Cao Xian was cultivating with her eyes closed when she suddenly felt a vibration around her waist. Cao Xian exited her cultivation state and picked up the jade pendant in her hand. The next moment, the jade pendant emitted a blue light, and then Yi Chuyao's projection appeared in the secret room. Seeing that it was Yi Chuyao, Cao Xian was stunned for a moment, then immediately stood up and said, "Greetings, senior sister." Yi Chuyao asked directly, "I see that you have been in Shangsha City for more than 2 years. What are you doing in Shangsha City?" Hearing this, Cao Xian was about to say something when she suddenly remembered what Xiao Zuying had told her. However, after thinking about it, it seemed that there was nothing about Shangsha City that couldn't be said. Thinking of this, Cao Xian replied, "Junior brother Chen discovered an evil immortal in Shangsha City. After he killed the evil immortal, he plans to re-elect a city lord and guard Shangsha City for a period of time to see if any other evil immortals appear in Shangsha City." Hearing this, Yi Chuyao asked in confusion, "Evil immortal? How could an evil immortal appear in a place like Shangsha City, which is in the middle of nowhere?" This made Yi Chuyao somewhat puzzled. Even if the evil immortals of the Blood Eagle Hall wanted to send someone to go undercover, they wouldn't choose Shangsha City as the place to go undercover, right? At the very least, they should choose those cultivation cities. Yi Chuyao then asked, "What has junior brother Chen been doing for the past 2 years?" Cao Xian had been in seclusion for the past 2 years, so naturally she didn't know what Lu Chen had been doing. However, she still replied, "He has been cultivating for the past 2 years." Yi Chuyao pondered for a moment, then said, "Okay, you and junior sister shall continue to watch him." Cao Xian said, "Yes, senior sister." The next moment, the blue light of the jade pendant disappeared. Cao Xian then put the blue jade pendant into her spatial ring. Then, she walked out of the secret room. After arriving outside the secret room, Cao Xian took a deep breath. 2 years was only a blink of an eye for her. However, she was a little curious about what Lu Chen had been doing for the past 2 years. So, she went to Xiao Zuying's courtyard, intending to ask Xiao Zuying about Lu Chen's affairs. However, when Cao Xian arrived at Xiao Zuying's courtyard, she did not find Xiao Zuying's figure. Cao Xian used her divine sense to investigate, but she did not find Xiao Zuying anywhere. Thissa. Cao Xian was slightly stunned, thinking that something might have happened. She immediately grabbed a servant in Xiao Zuying's courtyard and asked, "Where is my junior sister?" The servant quickly said, Immortal Xiao is now in the room." Cao Xian looked towards Xiao Zuying's bedroom. In the room. Then why couldn't she detect her location using her divine sense? Could it be that she had set up a formation to isolate divine sense detection? Cao Xian couldn't help but think that junior sister Xiao was too careful. She even had to set up a formation to isolate divine sense during this short period of cultivation. During their short periods of seclusion, their consciousness was not completely immersed in cultivation. If there was any major movement or danger, they would be able to sense it, so there was no need to set up a formation. Cao Xian thought about it, forget it, she should go see what junior brother Chen was doing first. Thinking of this, Cao Xian asked the servant in front of her again, "Where is my junior brother?" The servant replied, "Immortal Chen is also in this room." Cao Xian was stunned for a moment. However, she quickly reacted, thinking that junior brother Chen and junior sister Xiao must have something important to discuss, so they set up a formation to isolate divine sense detection. But then again, if it was something important, shouldn't they wake her up first, and then the 3 of them discuss it together? Cao Xian then asked again, "How long have my junior brother and sister been in the room?" Cao Xian thought that if it was something important, she might as well go and listen to what it was. The servant replied, returning to Immortal, "It has been a year." Hearing the servant's reply, Cao Xian's red lips parted slightly, and a look of disbelief appeared on her cold face. A year. She wasn't stupid, she didn't believe that a man and a woman alone in a room would discuss things for a year. Cao Xian couldn't help but suspect that Xiao Zuying had taken care of Chen Lu all the way to the bed. But even so, they shouldn't still be in there after a year. Unless it was dual cultivation or somethinga. At this moment. Inside Xiao Zuying's bedroom, Lu Chen was cultivating like crazy. During these 2 years, after he selected the city lord of Shangsha City, he had been having fun with Xiao Zuying almost every night. Later, he simply set up a formation. Both of them were immortals and could completely abstain from food and drink. As a result, they had been there for a year. For Xiao Zuying, an immortal, even though Lu Chen was a bit violent, she could still endure it. Moreover, she herself admired Lu Chen, so no matter how crazy Lu Chen was, she could bear it. Lu Chen had not yet obtained high-level cultivation immortal techniques. When he cultivated with Cao Xian, he still used the dragon and phoenix yin-yang art, and he also taught the mysterious maiden art to Xiao Zuying. The effect of this kind of cultivation technique used by immortals on their dual cultivation is actually very weak, but the two of them don't really care. After all, their purpose is not for dual cultivation, and these two techniques are just seasonings. What Lu Chen really wanted to do was to make Xiao Zuying pregnant with his child, but unfortunately, they were both immortals, and it was too difficult for immortals to conceive offspring. Just then, Lu Chen suddenly noticed that a faint green Dao charm was emitting from his body. The Dao charm surrounded the two of them, but above the Dao charm, there seemed to be some black mist attached to it. This Isa. Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. Why is there black mist on the Dao charm of the Dao of life? What is that black thing? Lu Chen immediately tried to mobilize the power of the Dao of life to clear away those black mists. However, those black mists were still attached to the Dao charm of the Dao of life and could not be cleared away at all. Lu Chen seemed to understand something. These black mists were the culprits that prevented people in the Tianyan immortal realm from reproducing. The power of the Tao of life has been eroded, and the Tao of reproduction seems to be gradually dissipating. Humans and immortals will naturally find it difficult to reproduce offspring. Chapter 1305. The glory of the prosperity road reappears. Lu Chen thought to himself, what he comprehended was the Tao of creation. If he used the Tao of creation to evolve the Tao of procreation, would he be able to evolve the Tao of procreation? Thinking of this, Lu Chen didn't hesitate at all. He immediately mobilized the power of the Tao of creation and then evolved the Tao of procreation. But what he didn't expect was that as soon as he evolved the Tao of procreation, it quickly became faint and indistinct, and the immortal energy in his body was being consumed at a terrifying rate. Lu Chen immediately understood that the Tao of procreation had been locked by a higher power of rules. Lu Chen quickly stopped evolving the Tao of procreation. If he continued to consume it like this, he was afraid that the immortal energy in his body would be drained. But at this moment, ripples of red suddenly appeared in his room. This Isa. Lu Chen seemed to have thought of something. The next moment, a red bridal sedan chair really appeared in the room. Since he came out of the inner world of the Chaos Beast, he had never seen the red bridal sedan chair again. Lu Chen had always been curious about this red bridal sedan chair. In his memory, he didn't seem to have such a magic weapon. With the appearance of the red bridal sedan chair, the original Tao of procreation suddenly soared into the sky, and countless visions of animals and plants reproducing appeared in the sky above Shangsha City. The majestic immortal energy directly broke through the barrier set up by Lu Chen. Cao Xian, who was in the courtyard, thought something had happened when she saw this scene, and rushed in quickly. Junior brother, junior sister, are you alright? However, when Cao Xian entered the room, she found that Lu Chen and Xiao Zuying were in an intimate state. Seeing this scene, Cao Xian was stunned. Although she had guessed that something might have happened between the two of them, this was after all what she saw with her own eyes. Seeing Cao Xian enter the room, Xiao Zuying was stunned. Just as she was about to say something, the red immortal energy released by the red bridal sedan chair entered her body, making her unable to control herself. Cao Xian quickly said, I'm disturbing you continuea. As soon as she finished speaking, Cao Xian quickly closed the door. After Cao Xian closed the door, Xiao Zuying's soft and charming voice immediately came from the room. At this time, Cao Xian felt a little dazed. She didn't expect that junior sister Xiao had really become junior brother Chen's woman. That's right, junior brother Chen is the personal disciple of the Zanyu Palace Master and the future Zanyu Palace Master. It's not surprising that she would be attracted to him. At the same time, in the room, after the Tao of procreation regained its glory, Lu Chen immediately used the power of the Tao to try to breed offspring with Xiao Zuying. But soon he found that even if he used the power of the Tao of procreation, it was still difficult for Xiao Zuying to get pregnant. Of course, this is also normal. It is already very difficult for immortals to have offspring. After that, Lu Chen and Xiao Zuying ended their cultivation. After a while, Xiao Zuying lay on Lu Chen's chest and said softly, "Junior brother, our affair has been discovered by senior sister Cao, what should we do now?" Xiao Zuying was not sure whether Cao Xian would tell Yi Chuyao about their affair. If Yi Chuyao knew about their affair, it would be troublesome. Lu Chen said with a smile, "We are in love with each other, it is only natural to be together, it doesn't matter if we are discovered." In the past, they still needed to be secretive. Now that Cao Xian has discovered their affair, they don't have to be secretive in the future. Lu Chen said, "That is the power of the Tao of procreation." Hearing Lu Chen's words, Xiao Zuying was stunned for a moment, the power of the Tao of procreation. Lu Chen used the power of the Tao of procreation on her, wouldn't it be that he wanted a? Xiao Zuying blushed and said softly, "Junior brother, could it be that you want me Toa?" Xiao Zuying stopped talking. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Senior sister guessed right, that's what I intend to do, but it's a pity that even with the power of the Tao of procreation, it is still difficult for immortals to have offspring, but now that the Tao of procreation has regained its glory, it will be easier for both immortals and mortals to have offspring in the future." Xiao Zuying was slightly startled and quickly asked, "Is what junior brother said true?" Lu Chen said, "Yes, the reason why it has become more and more difficult to have offspring in the Tianyan immortal realm is because the Tao of life has been polluted, and the other reason is that the Tao of procreation is about to disappear." Although Lu Chen did not solve the pollution of the Tao of life, being able to restore the glory of the Tao of procreation will make it relatively easier to have offspring in the future. Xiao Zuying said, "If this is the case, then the Tianyan immortal realm will probably fall into turmoil again." The Tianyan immortal realm has always been relatively chaotic in the past, mainly because the Tianyan immortal realm is too large and there are too many forces. If it weren't for the fact that life in the Tianyan immortal realm has become more and more difficult to reproduce in the past 100 million years, wars would lead to a rapid decline in the population of various forces, and the immortals of the immortal forces would not be able to get timely replenishment, and those super forces would not be able to stop the war. If everything returns to normal and immortals can reproduce offspring like in the past, then the outbreak of war is only a matter of time. At the moment when the Tao of procreation regained its glory, the immortal venerables of all major forces sensed it. Although those immortal venerables did not walk the Tao of procreation, they still had some awareness of the Tao of procreation. Long ago, some immortal venerables suspected that the difficulty in reproducing offspring in the Tianyan immortal realm was because the Tao was disappearing and the laws of the Tianyan immortal realm were changing. It's just that because no one walks the Tao of procreation, even if those immortal venerables can sense that the Tao of procreation is disappearing, they can't find the reason why the Tao of procreation is gradually disappearing. After sensing that the Tao of procreation had regained its glory, the ancestors of the major forces immediately sent people to monitor the changes in the mortal world. The restoration of the Tao of procreation will first be reflected in the reproduction of offspring by mortals. As long as it becomes easier for mortals to get pregnant, it will prove that it will be easier for immortals to have offspring in the future. Shangsha City Lord's Mansion, a certain courtyard. Even Xiao Zuying now has a Tao companion, but she is still alone. Don't look at the fact that the Zanyu Palace only recruits female disciples, but most people have Tao companions, or have had Tao companions, especially the Earth Immortal Realm disciples. After all, they have lived for hundreds of millions of years. It is impossible to say that a man has never had one, let alone an immortal in the heavenly immortal realm. Generally, heavenly immortals will enter the mortal world to experience when they are still Earth immortals, and at this stage, most Earth immortals, even if they have never had Tao companions before, will make Tao companions at this stage, which can also be regarded as a kind of experience. And Cao Xian fell in love with Lu Chen in the secret realm back then. From then on, her heart was closed, especially after learning that Lu Chen had entered the Chaos Sea. She never planned to find a Tao companion again. Chapter 1306. My lord, I discovered the whereabouts of King Chen. As Cao Xian knew, within the profound Moon Hall, there were very few heavenly immortal realm cultivators or above who had never sought a Tao companion. This included her and Xiao Zuying. But now, Xiao Zuying also had a Tao companion, and Xiao Zuying's Tao companion was even a personal disciple of the Hall Master. She didn't feel envious, but rather a sense of loss. Xiao Zuying said with a smile, "Senior sister, why did you come out of seclusion so quickly?" Cao Xian immediately saw through Xiao Zuying's guilt. She also guessed why Xiao Zuying had come to find her, and then she said, "Junior sister, don't worry, I won't tell senior sister Yi about you and junior brother Chen." Hearing Cao Xian's words, Xiao Zuying was slightly stunned. She then said, "Thank you, senior sister." After saying that, Xiao Zuying came to the stone table in the pavilion and sat down. Cao Xian then continued, "The reason why I came out of seclusion early is because senior sister Yi contacted me through the shadow transmission jade pendant." Xiao Zuying asked, "What did senior sister Yi say?" Cao Xian replied, "She just asked what junior brother Chen has been doing for the past 2 years. I told her that junior brother Chen has been cultivating for the past 2 years." Speaking of this, Cao Xian asked, "Ask junior brother Chen when he will leave Upper Sand City." Cao Xian vaguely felt that she was about to break through, but the spiritual energy in Upper Sand City was too thin and not suitable for breaking through here. Xiao Zuying asked, "Senior sister wants to leave Upper Sand City." Cao Xian said, "I feel like I'm about to break through." Xiao Zuying instantly understood what Cao Xian meant. Breaking through from heavenly immortal to true immortal required vast spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy in Upper Sand City could not support Cao Xian's breakthrough to the true immortal realm. Xiao Zuying then said, "I will tell junior brother about this later. Then I'll have to trouble junior sister." At this moment, Cao Xian suddenly thought of something, and then asked, "Junior sister, are you willing?" Xiao Zuying's cheeks flushed slightly. "Senior sister, why would you ask that?" Cao Xian said, "Junior brother Chen is, after all, a personal disciple of the Hall Master. I'm afraid you were coerced by him." Xiao Zuying said, "Senior sister, don't worry, I am willing." Cao Xian said, "It's good that you are willing." Xiao Zuying tentatively asked, "Senior sister Cao, after you break through to the true immortal realm, do you plan to find a Tao companion?" Hearing this, Lu Chen's figure immediately appeared in Cao Xian's mind, and then she said with a wry smile, "I am wholeheartedly devoted to the Tao, and I will not seek a Tao companion in this life." She had also fantasized about finding a Tao companion hundreds of millions of years ago, but unfortunately, the man she loved did not love her, but the holy maiden of their profound moon palace. Feeling that Cao Xian's emotions were a little low, Xiao Zuying guessed that Cao Xian should have someone she liked, so she no longer continued to talk about this topic. At the same time, Heavenly Summer Immortal Dynasty, in Yuan King's fiefdom. In a magnificent palace, a burly man sat on the throne of the main hall. The man looked at the person kneeling in the hall and said, "Speak, why did you go to great lengths to meet this king? If it's just some trivial matter, this king believes you should know the consequences." Recently, within the Yuan King's fiefdom, someone had been constantly inquiring about him and wanted to meet him, claiming to possess something of interest to him. These people's movements quickly attracted the attention of the Yuan King. After all, the Heavenly Summer Immortal Dynasty was currently in turmoil. Whether it was him or the other kings of the Heavenly Summer Immortal Dynasty, they were in a relatively tense state. Any disturbance could attract their attention. After Jia Wenrui tried his best to calm the fear in his heart, he said, "Your Majesty, I have discovered the whereabouts of King Chen." As soon as these words came out, an Yuan King immediately stood up from the throne, and then the aura on his body was completely released, and this aura directly pressed Jia Wenrui to the ground. Didn't King Chen enter the Sea of Chaos and die hundreds of millions of years ago? He had never heard of anyone who could survive after entering the Sea of Chaos. After Lu Jing stabilized his mind, he withdrew the aura on his body. "Do you know what you are saying? King Chen entered the Sea of Chaos hundreds of millions of years ago. How could he still be alive? What is your intention in running here to tell this king these things at this time?" Hearing this, Jia Wenrui quickly said, "Your Majesty, this humble one is an old subordinate of King Chen. This humble one is not lying. This humble one has indeed discovered the whereabouts of King Chen." Seeing Jia Wenrui, who was shivering with fear on the ground, Lu Jing pondered for a moment. This person didn't seem to be lying. But how could King Chen come out of the Sea of Chaos? Could it be that someone was impersonating King Chen, trying to cause trouble under the banner of King Chen? Why would anyone impersonate King Chen to cause trouble? Lu Jing asked, "Tell me, how did you discover that King Chen is still alive?" Jia Wenrui didn't waste any words and directly released the memory he extracted from the minds of the soldiers of the White Feather City Lord's mansion. The next moment, Lu Chen's figure appeared in the White Feather City in the main hall. Seeing Lu Chen's figure, Lu Jing's heart shook. Although that person's realm had not reached the Immortal King realm, his appearance was indeed exactly the same as Lu Chen's. After a while, Lu Jing said, "It's just that he looks the same as Lu Chen. This is not enough to prove that he is Lu Chen." The heavenly evolution immortal domain was so big, with countless people. It was not a strange thing for someone to look exactly like Lu Chen. Even he himself had prepared many doubles who looked similar to him to prevent being assassinated. Jia Wenrui said, "Your Majesty, if that's all, it's indeed not enough to prove that that person is King Chen, but since that person came to White Feather City, the City Lord of White Feather City has begun to hoard supplies, vigorously develop White Feather City, and actively expand his power." The previous City Lord of White Feather City had always been content to drift along and had never been as active as he is now. This is likely due to King Chen's orders. Lu Jing fell into deep thought. Even if an immortal emperor entered the Sea of Chaos, they would not be able to leave. Lu Chen was just an immortal king. How could he come out alive after entering the Sea of Chaos? At the time, many forces saw Lu Chen enter the Sea of Chaos, and even he himself was present. How did Lu Chen come out? Could it be that Lu Chen never entered the Sea of Chaos at all? At that time, what entered the Sea of Chaos was just a double of Lu Chen, or perhaps one of his clones, while the real Lu Chen was hiding in a corner of the Heavenly Evolution Immortal Domain, eking out a living. End of this chapter. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 1307 Anyuan King Lu Jing's Plan. Even considering this possibility, Lu Jing still found it a bit far-fetched. Back then, there were so many powerful experts from top-tier forces, even immortal reverends were present. It wouldn't have been easy for an immortal king like Lu Chen to use a golden cicada shedding its shell trick. Those top-tier forces had plenty of ways to determine whether the Lu Chen who entered the chaotic sea was the real Lu Chen. If one person couldn't tell, that's one thing, but it was impossible that so many forces couldn't see through it. The one who entered the chaotic sea at that time should have been Lu Chen himself. However, Lu Jing glanced again at the memory footage extracted by Jia Wenrui in the main hall. The person in the footage did indeed look very much like Lu Chen. If it really was Lu Chen, then there would be a good show to watch. Lu Jing swept his gaze over Jia Wenrui, who was kneeling in the hall, a faint smile on his lips. "You've been making such a ruckus in my territory, insisting on seeing me, just to tell me this news." Jia Wenrui quickly said, "Your Majesty, Chen Wang is a traitor to the Celestial Summer Dynasty, a jinx to the Celestial Evolution Immortal Domain. If he returns to the Celestial Summer Dynasty, he will surely stir up war again. This humble one, for the sake of the Celestial Summer Dynasty, for the sake of the Celestial Evolution Immortal Domain, could only try to attract your Majesty's attention, so as to pass this news to your Majesty. This humble one has absolutely no other intentions." Lu Jing chuckled. How could he not know Jia Wenrui's intentions? He simply wanted to use this news to exchange for some cultivation resources. Then, Lu Jing said, "From today onwards, you will keep a close watch on White Feather City for me. If Lu Chen reappears in White Feather City, or if there is any movement in White Feather City, report it to me immediately. If you handle this matter well, I can allow you to join my command." Hearing this, Jia Wenrui was overjoyed. He had indeed made the right bet. He was a former subordinate of Chen Wang. To the Celestial Summer Dynasty, he was a traitor, so they had always been afraid to enter the Celestial Summer Dynasty, fearing they would be dealt with. His entry into the Celestial Summer Dynasty this time was a great risk, but the result was good. As long as he could return to the Celestial Summer Dynasty and work under the command of Prince Anyuan, he would definitely be able to obtain more cultivation resources than staying in a place like Purple Moon City, which was close to the chaotic sea. Lu Jing said, "All right, if there's nothing else, you may go back first." Jia Wenrui said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Although Lu Jing didn't give Jia Wenrui anything, Jia Wenrui didn't feel anything was amiss. After all, this was their first meeting. As long as he became a subordinate of Prince Anyuan, he would naturally be able to obtain more cultivation resources in the future. His current task was to keep an eye on White Feather City, waiting for Lu Chen's appearance. He believed that as long as Lu Chen reappeared, Lu Jing, Prince Anyuan, would definitely take action against Lu Chen. After all, Lu Chen was a traitor to the Celestial Summer Dynasty, a being once regarded as a calamity by various major forces. If Lu Chen returned to the Celestial Summer Dynasty again, the most panicked person would naturally not be him. Although he also participated in the encirclement and suppression of Lu Chen back then, the culprit who caused all of this was Prince Guangren, Lu Jingfu. And Lu Jingfu was the most powerful among the several princes of the Celestial Summer Dynasty. When the current master of the Celestial Summer Dynasty was on the verge of death, if something happened to Lu Jingfu, the other princes would have a much easier time. Lu Jing believed that once Lu Chen returned, he would definitely find a way to take revenge on Lu Jingfu. As for whether Lu Chen would threaten himself, Lu Jing didn't care much. Judging from the memory extracted from Jia Wenrui, the current Lu Chen was no longer an immortal king. A Lu Chen who wasn't an immortal king was not much of a threat. Of course, even if Lu Chen wasn't an immortal king, if he wanted to cause trouble, he could still make Lu Jingfu suffer. At this time, Lu Jing said to the person at the door, "Have Commander Wang come here." Soon, a man in black armor appeared before Lu Jing. The man bowed to Lu Jing and said, "Greetings, Your Majesty. I wonder why Your Majesty is looking for this subordinate." Lu Jing said, "Commander Wang, go and spread the word that Prince Guangren colluded with various major forces to frame Chen Wang back then." Hearing this, Wang Tong was stunned for a moment. This matter had already passed for billions of years. Wang Tong couldn't understand why Prince Anyuan still wanted to bring it up at this time. Although at this time, the various princes would try to pick on the mistakes of other princes, to make trouble for other princes, but as far as this matter was concerned, all the princes had participated in the encirclement and suppression of Chen Wang back then, and it wouldn't be able to cause any impact on Prince Guangren, right? Wang Tong asked, "Your Majesty, may this subordinate ask, why do you want to do this? Hasn't this matter already passed for billions of years?" Prince Anyuan said, "Just do as I say, and you will soon know the reason." Lu Chen's return was a big deal. If only he knew that Lu Chen had returned, it wouldn't be anything, but if other forces, especially those super forces that targeted Lu Chen back then, knew that Lu Chen had returned, they might send people again to encircle and suppress Lu Chen. After all, Lu Chen's talent was too terrifying. Those super forces were afraid that Lu Chen would become an immortal emperor. Wang Tong said, "This subordinate understands." Then, Wang Tong left the main hall. A few days later, a rumor about Prince Guangren colluding with various major forces to frame Chen Wang spread in the Celestial Summer Dynasty. When some people heard about this matter, their first reaction was confusion. Many people had even forgotten about Chen Wang. After all, that was something that happened billions of years ago. Those who could live to this day were at least of the heavenly immortal realm. Of course, those who participated in the encirclement and suppression of Chen Wang back then still remembered this matter, but when these people heard this rumor, they were very puzzled. Why was someone still paying attention to a person who had been dead for billions of years? Moreover, this rumor spread inexplicably. Those who were still alive knew that Chen Wang had colluded with other forces to frame Chen Wang back then. This kind of thing was well known back then, but now it had become a rumor spread out. Obviously, someone was deliberately spreading this news behind the scenes. As for what that person's purpose was, people couldn't think of it for the time being. Prince Guangren's territory. A certain mountain peak, in a pavilion. Lu Jingfu sat upright in the pavilion, absorbing the rich spiritual energy in the air. At this time, a servant appeared outside the pavilion. Lu Jingfu didn't even open his eyes, and directly asked, "What's the matter?" The servant said, "Your Majesty, recently there has been a rumor about you spreading in the Celestial Summer Dynasty." Hearing this, Lu Jingfu opened his eyes and looked at the servant in front of him. He said lightly, "It seems that my brothers and sisters can't sit still. Tell me, what is the rumor? At this current stage, using rumors to attack people is no longer useful. Their imperial father's lifespan has reached its limit. Even if the rumor spreads that a certain son is going to rebel, no one will care now. What matters now is which prince is stronger and has more support from external forces." End of chapter. Chapter 1308. The confusion of Guangren King Lu Jingfu. With the support of the Blood Eagle Hall, Lu Jingfu no longer felt threatened by any rumors. Hearing this, Lu Jingfu was momentarily stunned. It had been over 1 billion years, so how could anyone spread this news now? It didn't seem to pose any threat to him, did it? Although it was true that he initially framed Lu Chen, claiming Lu Chen wanted to rebel, after all, Lu Chen was already at the Immortal King realm at that time, while their imperial father was also only at the Immortal King realm. He had merely said a few words in front of his imperial father, and his imperial father had believed that Prince Chen wanted to rebel. He was indeed the one who did it, but he didn't understand why bringing up old matters would have any impact on him. Moreover, Prince Chen was already dead. Why would the instigator of these rumors bring this up? At this crucial moment of vying for the throne, he didn't believe that the other party would spread rumors that wouldn't affect him. Could it be that the other party wanted to say that he colluded with external forces to frame his own family, trying to use this method to alienate him from the immortal king experts of the royal family? Don't be ridiculous. The old guys in the royal family knew about what happened back then. Although he did say some bad things about Lu Chen in front of his imperial father, the one who actually wanted to eliminate Lu Chen was still his imperial father. With Lu Chen's talent, breaking through to the immortal king realm was only a matter of time. At that time, their imperial father showed no signs of breaking through. It's hard to say what would happen when a son's strength surpassed his father's, especially in the royal family. So, the one who truly wanted to kill Lu Chen was their imperial father. After Lu Jingfu came back to his senses, he said, "Immediately send people to investigate who is spreading this news and what their purpose is." Yes, great king. After the servant left, Lu Jingfu fell into deep thought again. He thought for a long time, but he still couldn't figure out the true purpose of the other party doing this. After all, Lu Chen had been dead for over 1 billion years. When this news spread, people would just treat it as entertainment. At the same time, a celestial ship was rapidly moving away from Upper Sand City, with an endless sea of sand below. Cao Xian stood on the deck of the celestial ship, gazing at the distant sea of sand. Inside a room of the celestial ship, Xiao Zuying and Lu Chen were embracing. Xiao Zuying said with a blushing face, "Junior brother, senior sister is still outside." Xiao Zuying had only entered the room to ask Lu Chen which city they would go to next, but Lu Chen pulled her into his arms and kissed and touched her. She naturally understood what Lu Chen wanted to do. Although she was already used to that kind of thing, and she would naturally agree if Lu Chen wanted it, Cao Xian was outside after all. If something really happened between the two of them, Cao Xian would definitely be able to hear it. Lu Chen said with a smile, "Senior sister Cao already knows about our relationship, it's okay." Since they had already been discovered, it was better to be bolder. Xiao Zuying hesitated and said, "That's what you say, Buddha." Doing that kind of thing wasn't a problem, but she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to control herself. If the sound reached Cao Xian's ears, it would be too embarrassing. At this moment, Lu Chen put his arms around Xiao Zuying's body, came to the bed, gently placed her on the bed, and then gently pressed down on her. "Senior sister, it will take some time to leave the sea of sand. The spiritual energy in the sea of sand is thin and not suitable for cultivation. Anyway, there is nothing to do." Hearing Lu Chen's coaxing, Xiao Zuying finally agreed. After all, this was the man she loved, and she really couldn't refuse him. Xiao Zuying said, "All right then." Seeing Xiao Zuying agree, Lu Chen leaned down and captured Xiao Zuying's lips. At this time, on the deck of the celestial ship, Cao Xian stood for a while and then prepared to return to the cabin to cultivate. Although there was no spiritual energy in the sea of sand, she had brought a lot of spirit stones with her, and these spirit stones could sustain her cultivation for a period of time. Moreover, she was not cultivating now to break through, but to stabilize the feeling of wanting to break through. In this way, she would be able to break through directly when she arrived in a place with abundant spiritual energy. However, as soon as Cao Xian entered the cabin, she heard Xiao Zuying's voice coming from a certain room. From the tone, she could tell that Xiao Zuying was trying her best to lower her voice, but the rooms on their celestial ship did not have soundproof formations. No matter how much Xiao Zuying lowered her voice, it could still be heard clearly in the corridor of the cabin. "Aha, junior brother, I can't take it anymore. Junior brother, a senior sister is still outside ya. Cao Xian was slightly stunned. Ripples arose in her heart again. From Xiao Zuying's voice, she could hear that Xiao Zuying was very happy now. For a moment, Cao Xian's heart was also affected, and there was a trace of desire, but she quickly suppressed this thought. Cao Xian immediately used her immortal power to block her ears and returned to her room to continue cultivating. 1 month later. Frost City. Frost City is located on a snowfield. Beneath Frost City, there is a spiritual vein containing the power of ice and snow, so the area around Frost City is covered in ice and snow all year round. But even so, Frost City is still very prosperous. Although there is no way to grow food, the spiritual energy is relatively strong, so cultivators like this place very much, and some immortals will also settle and stay in Frost City, which makes Frost City a city mainly composed of cultivators. More than a dozen celestial ships were parked outside Frost City. When Lu Chen and the others approached Frost City, they immediately felt the aura of immortals emanating from those celestial ships, but most of those immortals were just ordinary immortals. At this moment, 2 immortals came to Lu Chen's celestial ship. Greetings to the envoy of the upper sect. May I ask what brings the envoy of the upper sect here? Fortunately, Cao Xian had finished her cultivation at this time and came to the deck of the celestial ship. Hearing Cao Xian's words, He Xuan, the city lord of Frost City, said, I will ask someone to arrange accommodation for the envoy. Immortals often come to places like Frost City, and the envoys of the Profound Moon Hall also come to Frost City from time to inspect, so He Xuan has long been adept at receiving envoys. Unlike Sky Wolf City and Upper Sand City, Lu Chen and the others did not encounter anything this time. They successfully entered Frost City and, under the arrangement of City Lord He Xuan, moved into a courtyard with abundant spiritual energy. There is a well in this courtyard, and this well leads directly to the spiritual vein underground, so the spiritual energy in this courtyard is more concentrated than in other places, and the efficiency here is higher than in other places. Cao Xian chose a room, set up a formation, and then began to retreat to prepare for a breakthrough. After arriving in Frost City, Lu Chen and Xiao Zuying did not continue to do business. Immortals may encounter some dangers when breaking through, so they stayed in the courtyard to protect Cao Xian. Chapter 1309 Xian, I'm back. After Cao Xian entered seclusion, a large amount of spiritual energy poured into their courtyard in Icefrost City, forming a spiritual energy vortex. As the spiritual energy poured in, Cao Xian's feeling of breaking through became more and more obvious. In the next moment, a frozen avenue appeared in the sky above Icefrost City. This was an avenue of elemental nature, and also Cao Xian's avenue, the avenue of ice and snow. The reason why Lu Chen came here was because he knew that Cao Xian walked the avenue of ice and snow. With the appearance of the avenue's phenomenon, Icefrost City immediately experienced a blizzard, and the temperature plummeted, becoming even colder. Fortunately, most of those who came to Icefrost City were cultivators. Even with the blizzard and plummeting temperatures, the cultivators could use the spiritual power in their bodies to resist the cold. The immortals were even more unaffected. This bit of cold was nothing. However, just then, the snow in the sky fell harder and harder, and the power of ice and snow contained in the air vaguely showed signs of agitation. Just then, an even stronger and more terrifying power of ice and snow suddenly erupted from Cao Xian's room. As this power of ice and snow spread out, hailstones the size of adult fists immediately fell from the sky. Moreover, these hailstones fell very quickly. If it weren't for the fact that most people in Icefrost City were cultivators, so many large hailstones falling would have killed countless people. Feeling the turbulent power of ice and snow permeating the air, Lu Chen realized that there was likely a problem with Cao Xian's cultivation. At this time, he got up and came to the door of Cao Xian's room. He did not rush in immediately. When a person was breaking through a realm, they were prone to cultivation deviation. If they were interrupted at this time, the probability of cultivation deviation would greatly increase. Just then, the power of ice and snow gushing out of Cao Xian's room became more and more violent, and the hailstones falling from the sky became larger and larger. For a time, those cultivators with lower cultivation levels couldn't withstand the hailstones falling from the sky. The formations arranged in some cultivators' courtyards could initially resist the hailstones falling from the sky, but as the power of ice and snow went berserk, the formations of countless cultivators in Icefrost City were smashed by the hailstones falling from the sky. At this moment, Cao Xian inside the room frowned. her beautiful eyes tightly closed, and her body trembled constantly. Scenes of her and Lu Chen getting along in the secret realm constantly appeared in her mind. In the next moment, a red immortal energy was released from Cao Xian's body. Realizing that Cao Xian had already suffered cultivation deviation, Lu Chen no longer hesitated and directly pushed the door open and entered the room. Cao Xian kept murmuring, "No, don't leave. Lu Chen, come back." Hearing these words, Lu Chen was stunned. He didn't expect Cao Xian's cultivation deviation to be because of him. He had only saved Cao Xian casually in the secret realm. If it weren't for the system information, he probably would have forgotten about such a person. Lu Chen immediately came to Cao Xian's side and said softly, "I'm here." Hearing Lu Chen's voice, the red immortal energy released from Cao Xian's body instantly retracted, and the power of ice and snow gradually returned to her body. However, just then, the power of ice and snow in her body surged again. Her head kept shaking, dead. Lu Chen is already dead. He can't come back. Ah! In an instant, an even more violent power of ice and snow poured out from her body. In the next moment, a black cloud appeared in the sky, followed by countless ice cones falling from the sky. The cultivators of Ice Frost City suffered an unprovoked disaster, and each of them was so frightened that they fled everywhere. Feeling the situation outside, Lu Chen immediately used the evergreen art of azure wood, but for an immortal, the healing of the evergreen art of azure wood was obviously not enough. Lu Chen then mobilized the power of the Grand Tao of Life. When the power of the Grand Tao poured into Cao Xian's body, the violent power of ice and snow became slightly gentler, but soon Lu Chen discovered that those black gases on the Grand Tao of Life were entering Cao Xian's body. Lu Chen was a little puzzled. Even the Grand Tao of Life was suffering the erosion of this strange power. Wouldn't the people of the celestial domain of heavenly evolution be eroded by this strange power in the future? Anyone or anything was related to the Grand Tao of Life. If the Grand Tao of Life was affected, the lifespan of everyone or everything would be affected. But now was not the time to worry about those things. The most important thing now was to get Cao Xian out of her cultivation deviation state. If she continued like this, not only would she be unable to break through, but she might even endanger her life. Lu Chen then thought of a way, which was to use dual cultivation to calm the turbulent power of ice and snow in her body. If it were someone else, they would definitely not dare to approach Cao Xian at this time. After all, they might be injured by the violent power of ice and snow. But Lu Chen was different. Lu Chen's Grand Tao of creation could evolve the Grand Tao, and he could also evolve the power of ice and snow. He could use the Grand Tao of ice and snow to mobilize the power of ice and snow. In this way, he would be able to calm the berserk power of the Grand Tao in Cao Xian's body. Thinking of this, Lu Chen did not hesitate at all and directly approached Cao Xian. Just as the two's lips were about to touch, Cao Xian suddenly opened her eyes. Her eyes were scarlet, emitting a blood-colored light. She pushed Lu Chen away with her hand and said, "Don't." Lu Chen knew why Cao Xian was so resistant, so he took the initiative to say, "I am Lu Chen." At the moment of hearing these words, Cao Xian was stunned, and the red in her eyes gradually faded a lot. However, after being stunned for a moment, Cao Xian seemed to have come back to her senses. She looked at Lu Chen and said, "No, you are not Lu Chen, you are Chen Lu." Cao Xian seemed to have regained some consciousness. In her opinion, after Lu Chen entered the Chaos Sea, it was impossible for him to come out alive again. Lu Chen was already dead. Lu Chen continued, "I am Chen Lu, and I am also Lu Chen, Xian, I am back." Cao Xian still resisted and said, "No, you are not Lu Chen." Lu Chen continued, "I still remember those things we experienced in the secret realm." Hearing these words, Cao Xian completely gave up struggling, her eyes staring straight at Lu Chen. Lu Chen also took this opportunity to kiss her directly. At the moment of being blocked by Lu Chen's mouth, Cao Xian's consciousness completely sobered up, but at this moment, she had completely lost control of the power of ice and snow, unable to mobilize the power of ice and snow, and had no strength to push Lu Chen away. She pushed Lu Chen away while twisting her delicate body, but Lu Chen ignored her movements, and while kissing, he took off her clothes one by one. End of this chapter. Chapter 13:10. No, you can't be him. Just as Cao Xian was struggling, she suddenly felt something strange in her body, and a muffled sound came from her throat. A. Lu Chen paid no attention to Cao Xian. After succeeding, he used the Tao of creation to evolve the Great Tao of Ice and Snow. In the next moment, the Great Tao of Ice and Snow above Ice Frost City became clearer, but the hail stopped, and soon the blizzard gradually dissipated. After Lu Chen mastered the power of Ice and Snow, he infused his Ice and Snow power into Cao Xian's body, allowing his Ice and Snow power to merge with the Ice and Snow power in Cao Xian's body, and then pulled the Ice and Snow power in Cao Xian's body into his own body, so that the Ice and Snow power in the two people's bodies formed a cycle. In this way, the turbulent Ice and Snow power in Cao Xian's body stabilized. However, after Cao Xian fully woke up, she still believed that the person on her was Chen Lu. She struggled to get rid of Lu Chen, but after the Ice and Snow power in the two bodies merged, she had lost control of her strength and could only follow Lu Chen's lead. Seeing Cao Xian shed tears, Lu Chen stopped blocking Cao Xian's mouth and slowly raised his head, looking down at her condescendingly. Cao Xian said coldly, "Get up." Lu Chen said, "Senior sister, the Ice and Snow power in your body has not yet stabilized." Cao Xian said indifferently, "It's none of your business." Lu Chen asked with a smile, "Xian, when you were possessed just now, you kept chanting my name, why are you suddenly so indifferent to me now?" Hearing Lu Chen's words, Cao Xian was stunned for a moment. How could she possibly chant Chen Lu's name? Cao Xian said coldly, "How could I possibly chant your name?" Cao Xian said, "You are not Lu Chen." Lu Chen said with a smile, "Who am I if I'm not Lu Chen?" "Xian, I saved your life in the secret realm back then, but you have forgotten what I look like." Hearing this, Cao Xian's brain buzzed and went blank in an instant. Lu China he is Lu Chen. How is this possible? After Cao Xian came back to her senses, she said in disbelief, "Noah you can't be him." Lu Chen continued, "Whether I am him or not, we'll talk about it later. I'll help you break through first." Then she bit her silver teeth lightly, "Let me go." Lu Chen directly leaned down and blocked Cao Xian's mouth, Feeling that the Ice and Snow power in the room had stabilized, Xiao Zuying in the courtyard breathed a sigh of relief. She originally wanted to enter the room to see, but she was afraid of disturbing Cao Xian and Lu Chen. From Xiao Zuying's point of view at this moment, Lu Chen should be infusing immortal power into Cao Xian after entering the room to help Cao Xian stabilize the power in her body, but what she didn't know was that although Lu Chen was helping Cao Xian stabilize the Ice and Snow power in her body, he was using the method of dual cultivation. After an unknown amount of time, Xiao Zuying still didn't see Lu Chen coming out of the room. Xiao Zuying thought to herself, she didn't know how the situation was now. Just then, Cao Xian's voice came from the room. "A Chen Lua A Yua A Yuga A bastard. A Chen Lua A I'm going to kill Yua A Yua A. A Wu 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 A let go of senior sister can't be with Yua A Yuga A. A. Hearing the voices coming from the room, Xiao Zuying was stunned. Thissa A. She and Lu Chen had cultivated so many times, so she naturally heard from Cao Xian's tone what they were doing at the moment. Xiao Zuying quickly reacted. She was not surprised by this. After all, that man was Lu Chen, the romantic Lu Chen. She didn't feel any sadness in her heart. If she was sad because Lu Chen had one more woman, there were so many women in Lu Chen's harem, she didn't know how sad she would be. However, Xiao Zuying was faintly worried in her heart. What if Lu Chen did that kind of thing to Cao Xian, and Cao Xian reported it to the palace master at that time? In this way, time passed day by day, and in the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. Cao Xian herself had already been possessed, and with Lu Chen's help, she barely stabilized her cultivation. If she wanted to break through to the true immortal realm again, she would have to cultivate for a while longer, and Lu Chen had spent the past 6 months helping Cao Xian stabilize her cultivation. Of course, the main reason why she was willing to cooperate was because she had gradually believed that Chen Lu was Lu Chen, because besides Lu Chen, she couldn't seem to think of a second person in the entire Tianyan immortal realm who could do bad things to her for half a year in a row. After she was rescued by Lu Chen in the secret realm, because she liked Lu Chen, she secretly inquired about a lot of things about Lu Chen, including rumors about Lu Chen and his wives and concubines being together. Of course, she still had some resentment towards Lu Chen in her heart. This bastard didn't reveal his identity at the beginning, and as a result, he directly attacked her when she was unconscious, leaving her with no preparation at all. At this moment, Lu Chen was holding Cao Xian, letting her lie in his arms, while his restless claws gently stroked Cao Xian's jade back. Cao Xian lay on Lu Chen's chest and asked in a low voice, "Are you really Lu Chen? The Lu Chen who saved me in the Longchuan secret realm?" Lu Chen said, "It's me." Cao Xian said, "Then why didn't you tell me your identity at the beginning?" Lu Chen said, "My identity is relatively special. It's not a good thing if too many people know that I'm back. Moreover, the palace master and Yi Chuyao have deep hatred for me. If they know that I am Lu Chen, they will definitely kill me. Cao Xian asked in confusion, "Does the palace master and senior sister Yi have a feud with you?" Lu Chen said, "Yes, I abducted their closest people." When Yun Yudi came out of seclusion, she heard that Lu Chen had taken her sister into the Chaos Sea and was very angry. Later, she resented the Xuanyu Palace for driving her sister out of the Xuanyu Palace, so she took some Xuanyu Palace disciples and left the Xuanyu Palace directly, creating the current Xuanyu Hall. Cao Xian then asked, "It is rumored that even the immortal emperor cannot come out alive after entering the Chaos Sea. How did you come out?" Lu Chen said, "I got some opportunities in the Chaos Sea, so I was directly teleported back to the Tianyan immortal realm." End of this chapter. Chapter 13:11. I'm sick, please take a day off. Chapter 13:12. Lu Zhengji's concerns. Lu Chen was genuinely confused. Why would someone spread this news? What was the purpose? He didn't think it was baseless. After all, so much time had passed, and for someone to suddenly bring up his matter, they must have had some motive. Seeing Lu Chen lost in thought, Xiao Zuying said, "Could it be because the Immortal Dynasty master of the Heavenly Xia Immortal Dynasty is nearing the end of his life, and the kings of the Heavenly Xia Immortal Dynasty are spreading this news to discredit Prince Guangren for colluding with external forces in their struggle for the throne?" Lu Chen thought for a moment, then said, "That's unlikely. Within the Heavenly Xia Immortal Dynasty, anyone who has lived from over 1 billion years ago until today basically knows that the events of that year were related to Lu Jingfu. Whether or not this rumor exists has no impact on Lu Jingfu. The struggle for the throne in an immortal dynasty is slightly different from that in a secular dynasty. While in a secular dynasty, colluding with external forces might be seen as a disgrace, in an immortal dynasty, if a king can establish connections with many top-tier powers, it is actually a bonus. Therefore, Lu Jingfu being able to connect with those top-tier powers not only doesn't negatively affect him, but it actually benefits his claim to the throne. The major figures within the Heavenly Xia Immortal Dynasty, including the imperial consorts, see Lu Jingfu's extensive network and regard him even more highly. At this point, Lu Chen couldn't help but wonder, could it be that Lu Jingfu himself deliberately released this news and is treating it as his achievement? Indeed, that's quite possible. If Lu Jingfu released this news, he was likely trying to remind some people within the Heavenly Xia Immortal Dynasty that he had dealings with many top-tier powers to eliminate Prince Chen back then. Therefore, when choosing sides, those people had better think carefully about who they should choose. After considering this possibility, Lu Chen no longer dwelled on the matter. He smiled and said to Xiao Zuying, "Let's not worry about this for now. Instead, Senior Sister Cao's cultivation has already reached the true immortal realm. You need to work hard too. Let me help Senior Sister cultivate. Let's strive for Senior Sister to break through to the true immortal realm within 100 years. Xiao Zuying blushed and said, "You just helped Senior Sister Cao and consumed a lot. Your body is important, so it's better to rest for a while." Lu Chen caressed Xiao Zuying's jade-like cheek, gazed into her beautiful eyes, and said, "For me, this is just a form of cultivation. I don't need to rest." Xiao Zuying pouted, then said, "All right." Afterward, Lu Chen and Xiao Zuying went to the room next to Cao Xian's to cultivate. Baiyu City. Lu Zhengz looked at the weeping woman before him, lost in thought. Then he asked, "Are you sure Lu Yao hasn't been home for 6 months? The woman said, "Wah. He really hasn't been back for 6 months. At first, we thought you, City Lord, had arranged some work for him, which is why he hadn't returned. Later, when he still didn't come back, I proactively inquired with Commander Wang of the City Lord's mansion, and it turned out Commander Wang also didn't know where he had gone." Lu Zhengz immediately said to a soldier nearby, "Go and call Wang Shuji." As he finished speaking, Lu Zheng said to the woman before him, "Don't worry, we will definitely find Lu Yao." Although Lu Yao was just a minor soldier among the city lord's personal guards, he was a descendant of those who followed Prince Chen to Baiyu City back then. Not many descendants of those people are left. Now that Prince Chen has returned, these people may be heavily relied upon in the future. Even if he is just a minor soldier, his whereabouts must be investigated thoroughly. Before long, a muscular man in golden armor came before Lu Zheng's. "Greetings, City Lord." Lu Zheng's asked directly, "Did you not arrange for Lu Yao to carry out other tasks?" Hearing this, Wang Shuji was stunned for a moment, then said, "No, I didn't. Lu Yao's wife came to inquire about his whereabouts, and I thought you, City Lord, had arranged for him to carry out a special mission." Lu Zheng's frowned. A personal guard of the City Lord's mansion had been missing for 6 months, and they were completely unaware. He had truly been too busy recently, constantly occupied with the expansion of Baiyu City, and hadn't paid any attention to what was happening around him. Lu Zheng's immediately said, "Immediately send people to search for Lu Yao's whereabouts. We must see him alive or his corpse." At this time, Lu Zheng's felt a faint sense of unease. Lu Yao was a personal guard of the city lord's mansion, and he had also seen Lu Chen when he returned. Although Lu Yao didn't recognize Lu Chen was in Lu Yao's memory. If his memory were to be read by someone, those who knew Lu Chen could immediately recognize him through Lu Yao's memory. This was no small matter. Although such a coincidence might not happen, it was a matter of great importance and needed to be treated with caution. In the following few days, the soldiers of Baiyu City searched for any trace of Lu Yao. However, no matter how they searched, they couldn't find any sign of Lu Yao. Instead, they discovered that quite a few people had suddenly disappeared recently. Upon learning that Lu Yao was not the only one who had disappeared, Lu Zhengji's sense of crisis became even stronger. He had already realized that someone was capturing soldiers from Baiyu City to gather information, and it was possible that many things about Baiyu City had already been leaked. If it were just to gather intelligence about Baiyu City, it wouldn't be strange. After all, Baiyu City had never expanded before, and its population had been decreasing over the years. As the city lord, he had always been quite passive. Now that he had suddenly become invigorated, vigorously rectifying Baiyu City and actively expanding, this would certainly make the surrounding cities curious about what had happened in Baiyu City and send people to gather information. But if it were just to gather intelligence, the other party wouldn't need to take the people away, as this could easily expose their whereabouts. In cases where people are taken away like this, those who are taken are basically already dead. Lu Zheng's thought to himself, being able to take people away right under his nose proved that the person capturing them was at least an immortal and possessed the ability to conceal their aura. If an immortal did it, it would likely be difficult for him to find out who did it. However, no matter what, this proved that someone had already set their sights on Baiyu City. From now on, they must be more careful and cautious in their actions. City Lord's Mansion. In the main hall of the council, Lu Zheng sat in the main seat, listening to the reports from the soldiers in the hall. At this time, Wang Shuji, the commander of the City Lord's personal guards, said, "City Lord, I have issued an order that from now on, the personal guards of the City Lord's mansion must assemble at the City Lord's mansion every morning for roll call. If any soldiers disappear, we will be able to discover it immediately." In the past, the soldiers of the City Lord's mansion did not need to assemble daily. Who was on duty was written in the duty roster. If there were some soldiers who were not on duty for a long time, they could disappear for several days without being discovered. Although some people had already gone missing, no one could say for sure whether anyone would still target the City Lord's personal guards. It was still alright to be a little more careful. Just then, a soldier entered the hall. "Your Highness, recently there have been many rumors about Prince Chen in the Heavenly Xia Immortal Dynasty." End of Theat S. Chapter. Chapter 1313. The envoy from Xuanyu Palace visits. Ever since Lu Chen returned, Lu Zheng's had sent people to monitor the situation in the Celestial Summer Immortal Dynasty. What he worried about most was Lu Chen's identity being exposed, letting the people of the Celestial Summer Immortal Dynasty know of Lu Chen's return. Lu Zheng's frowned and asked the soldier who had just entered the hall, "What rumor?" The soldier immediately replied, There's a rumor that King Chen did not betray the Celestial Summer Immortal Dynasty back then. He was framed by King Guangren. King Guangren first sowed discord between King Chen and the Celestial Summer Immortal King, and then incited the major top forces in the Heavenly Evolution Immortal Domain to besiege King Chen. This is what forced King Chen into a desperate situation, and in despair, he took his wives and concubines into the Chaos Sea. Upon hearing the soldier's words, a strange expression appeared on Lu Zhengji's face. What kind of rumor was this? Wasn't this just what happened over a billion years ago? Although they didn't know why the Immortal Dynasty Lord of the Celestial Summer Immortal Dynasty suddenly attacked King Chen back then, over the past billion years, Lu Zheng's had basically guessed that all of this was related to King Guangren through some events that occurred at the time. What made Lu Zheng's feel somewhat uneasy was why, after over a billion years, and with King Chen's former subordinates almost completely dispersed today, someone was still bringing up the events of that year. For this matter to become a widely circulated rumor, someone must be pushing it from behind. Lu Zheng's couldn't understand why that person was spreading this rumor. Could it be someone had discovered that King Chen had returned, and so they wanted to use this rumor to tell King Chen who had harmed him in the past, and then use King Chen's anger to deal with King Guangren? Connecting this to the people who had gone missing from Baiyu City, Lu Zheng's felt it was very likely that King Chen's return had been discovered. Lu Zheng's thought to himself that he couldn't just sit and wait. This matter had to be told to King Chen as soon as possible so that he could be vigilant. Thinking of this, Lu Zheng's didn't hesitate at all. He quickly wrote a letter to Lu Chen and sent someone disguised as a merchant caravan to deliver the letter to Lu Chen, who was far away at the mysterious Moon Hall. He specifically instructed the messenger not to take out the letter before seeing Lu Chen, and to destroy the letter immediately if there was any danger. Days passed, and in the blink of an eye, another year had gone by. Lu Chen lay in bed, while Xiao Zuying lay on his chest, like a little wife. Cao Xian's realm had basically stabilized. She had originally planned to come out of seclusion long ago, but after sensing that Lu Chen was helping Xiao Zuying cultivate, she thought that she had nothing to do if she came out, so she continued her secluded cultivation. Xiao Zuying asked, "Junior brother, what are you thinking about?" Lu Chen came back to his senses, raised his hand, and gently stroked her smooth, tender shoulder. Nothing. Lu Chen was actually thinking about his wives and children in the Chaos Sea. After all, he had been out for so long, and it was impossible not to worry at all. What he was worried about was that there wasn't just one Chaos Beast in the Chaos Sea. If another one emerged, and he wasn't there, he feared that Yun Qingshu and the others wouldn't be strong enough to deal with a Chaos Beast. However, there was no use worrying about this now. He could only return to check on the situation by increasing his strength as quickly as possible. But based on the current situation, even if he tried his best to increase his strength, it would be difficult to reach the Immortal Emperor realm in a short period of time, at least not within a few million years. Now, when he cultivated with Xiao Zuying, he could hardly feel his cultivation increasing, and when he cultivated alone, he also couldn't feel his cultivation increasing. Lu Chen knew that this wasn't his problem. The further immortals progressed, the slower their cultivation increased. It had taken Xiao Zuying and the others over a billion years to reach the heavenly immortal realm. But he was different from others. He still had his own matters to attend to, and he still had people he cared about. He couldn't wait over a billion years to return to the Chaos Sea. The longer the time, the greater the variables. Xiao Zuying vaguely sensed that Lu Chen was actually worried about his wives and concubines, but since Lu Chen said he wasn't thinking about anything, she didn't ask any further. Just as Lu Chen was about to continue cultivating, he suddenly sensed the presence of two figures outside the mansion. The arrivals were the city lord of Frost City and a woman. The city lord of Frost City did not enter the mansion but spoke directly to the mansion from the entrance. "Envoy, the mysterious Moon Hall has sent another special envoy. The special envoy wishes to meet with you." Upon hearing this, Lu Chen immediately stopped his little actions. He was a little curious as to why the mysterious Moon Hall would send someone to Frost City at this time. After Lu Chen withdrew, he waved his hand and changed his clothes. His figure flickered, and he appeared directly at the entrance of the mansion. Seeing that it was Lu Chen, Zhou Ning was stunned for a moment. After being sent to Frost City, She heard from the city lord of Frost City that there were other envoys from the mysterious Moon Hall, so she wanted to meet with them. She didn't expect the person in Frost City to be their hall master's direct disciple. Zhou Ning quickly said to Lu Chen, "Greetings, junior brother Chen." Although the seniority and titles in the mysterious Moon Hall were not based on strength, when addressing someone stronger, their tone would be extremely respectful. Seeing Zhou Ning being so respectful to the man in front of her, He Xuan was slightly surprised. He had always thought that the mysterious Moon Hall did not accept male disciples. When he saw Lu Chen, he thought this person was just the Dao companion of one of those two women. But now it seemed that this man was not just the Dao companion of those two fairies, he likely had other identities. Zhou Ning did not hide anything and said directly, "The hall master has ordered us to recruit talented disciples in various places, and Frost City is a place where cultivators gather. There are many talented Mahayana realm cultivators here who only need a little guidance to become immortals." Hearing Lu Chen's words, He Xuan, who was standing nearby, was stunned. From the sound of it, this Chen Lu was the direct disciple of the hall master of the mysterious Moon Hall. He didn't expect such a significant figure to have come to their Frost City. Zhou Ning replied, "She hasn't come out of seclusion. She conveyed the message through sound transmission." Lu Chen continued to ask, "Why is Master suddenly recruiting disciples? It shouldn't be time to recruit disciples yet, right? Immortal sects like the mysterious Moon Hall generally only recruit disciples every many years." Lu Chen remembered that the mysterious Moon Hall had only recently recruited disciples not long ago, and it wasn't time to recruit disciples again. Zhou Ning said, "Junior brother must have been in secluded cultivation all this time and doesn't understand the current situation. A year ago, the great Tao of proliferation returned to normal. People are no longer restricted in having offspring, and the number of mortals is now growing rapidly. Immortals can also have offspring." End of this chapter. Chapter 13-14 The Clouds of War. Before Zhou Ning could finish speaking, Lu Chen guessed what might have happened. He then said, "So, the major forces are already stirring, preparing to launch a war. In the past, a large reason why the top forces in the heavenly origin immortal realm didn't dare to start a war was that more and more immortals were dying without being replenished. If this continued, it would be detrimental to every force. Most importantly, not only were immortals unable to reproduce, but even mortals couldn't reproduce. In the past, even if an immortal sect lost many immortals, they could continuously absorb mortal cultivators from the mortal world as cannon fodder. If even mortals couldn't reproduce, then continuing to wage war would eventually mean there wouldn't even be cannon fodder left. The great wars between immortal sects were extremely cruel, with the number of deaths in each war being an astronomical figure. Seeing that Lu Chen had guessed, Zhou Ning said, "Yes, now the major immortal sect forces are stirring, wanting to take this opportunity to expand their territory. Especially the Blood Eagle Hall. The vanguard of the Blood Eagle Hall has already made contact with us in the Qian sect. I'm afraid it won't be long before the Blood Eagle Hall launches an attack on our two immortal sects. Now the Tao of procreation has recovered, but no one can say for sure when it might have problems again. Therefore, many top forces want to take advantage of the Tao of procreation still being fine to aggressively expand their territory, absorb more population, and seize more resources. If the Tao of procreation has problems again someday, they would only be able to stop fighting later. This has caused the immortal sect forces that want to expand to start stirring, and the entire heavenly origin immortal realm is filled with the shadow of war." Zhou Ning suddenly thought of something at this moment and added, "Also, this time, the recruitment of disciples is not limited by gender." Hearing this, Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. For Yun Yuti to recruit disciples regardless of gender, it seems the situation is already quite bad. Lu Chen said, "All right, go and recruit disciples then." Zhou Ning said, "The situation is volatile now, junior brother Chen, perhaps you should return to Xuanyu Hall." Lu Chen said, "I came to the mortal world for training to break through to the heavenly immortal realm. I haven't broken through yet. Wouldn't returning now be giving up halfway? Besides, even if a war is really going to happen, it will take at least decades or even 100 years. If there is truly any danger, I will return immediately. Wars between immortal sects are not child's play. Usually, immortal sects with similar strength need at least decades, or even hundreds or thousands of years, to prepare before a war breaks out." Seeing Lu Chen say this, Zhou didn't say anything more. She then bowed to Lu Chen and said, I won't disturb junior brother Chen any longer. After speaking, Zhou left the entrance of the residence with He Xuan. Watching Zhou receding figure, Lu Chen thought to himself, he didn't expect that his accidental repair of the Tao of procreation would turn out to be a bad thing. Lu Chen didn't think too much about it. He prepared to return to the residence and continue cultivating diligently with the two women. However, just then, Zhou, who had just left, suddenly turned around and transmitted a message to Lu Chen, saying, "Oh right, junior brother, there's one thing I almost forgot to tell you." Lu Chen stopped in his tracks, looked back at Zhou in the distance, and transmitted a question, "What is it?" Zhou said, "There are a few people from Baiyu City looking for you. They said you have a very good relationship with the city lord of Baiyu City, and that Baiyu City has encountered some danger and they want to ask for your help." In the eyes of immortals, Baiyu City was just an insignificant small city. Even if the people of Xuanyu Hall knew about this, they didn't pay too much attention. There are many people who try to build connections like this, claiming to have a relationship with so and then asking for help. This is especially true for those who suddenly become prominent from having no status at all. People they were previously familiar or unfamiliar with would come running to try and build connections. In the eyes of the people of Xuanyu Hall, the people from Baiyu City were like this. Those people probably saw that Chen Lu had become the personal disciple of the Xuanyu Hall master and had become a big figure, so they wanted to come and cling to Chen Lu's leg. Zhou also didn't know if Lu Chen had any connection with Baiyu City, but this matter just came to mind, and it was just a casual mention anyway. What if Lu Chen really did have some connection with Baiyu City? Then she would have done Lu Chen a favor today. Even if Lu Chen had no connection with Baiyu City, it didn't matter. Anyway, she just said a few words, and she wouldn't lose anything. After hearing Zhou words, Lu Chen said, "Thank you, senior sister, for informing me. Please also trouble senior sister to tell those people from Baiyu City when you go back to come directly to Frost City to find me." Lu Chen wasn't so foolish as to immediately head to Baiyu City just because he heard it was in danger. He believed that Lu Zheng's wasn't a fool. If Baiyu City truly encountered a danger that Lu Zheng's couldn't handle, Lu Zheng's would proactively leave Baiyu City and wouldn't stay there waiting for death. Since he proactively sent people to Xuanyu Hall to find him, it meant that even if Baiyu City was indeed facing a crisis, it was a crisis that Lu Zheng's could handle. Lu Chen felt that Lu Zheng's sending people to find him was probably to remind him of something. Zhou said at this moment, "Okay." After agreeing to Lu Chen, Zhou turned around and left again. After Zhou left, Lu Chen finally returned to the residence. As soon as he entered the residence, Xiao Zuying and Cao Xian came forward to greet him again. Cao Xian asked, "Junior brother, what did the person who came look for you about?" Lu Chen said, "It's nothing. Xuanyu Hall sent someone to Frost City to recruit disciples. That person heard that there was a Xuanyu Hall disciple in Frost City, so they came to take a look." Xiao Zuying asked curiously, "Recruit disciples? Why is Xuanyu Hall recruiting disciples at this time?" Hearing Lu Chen's words, the two women were startled. If that was the case, the Heavenly Origin Immortal Realm was going to be in turmoil again. The Heavenly Origin Immortal Realm used to have constant great wars, with countless immortals perishing every year. If it weren't for the problems with the reproduction of immortals and mortals, the Heavenly Origin Immortal Realm would not have entered a brief period of peace. Since the immortal emperors of the Heavenly Origin Immortal Realm entered the Chaos Sea and never returned, the top immortal sects in the Heavenly Origin Immortal Realm had been concentrating cultivation resources on their own immortal venerables, attempting to use massive amounts of cultivation resources to produce an immortal emperor. Once a certain top immortal sect produced an immortal emperor, then for a long time afterward, that top immortal sect would have the final say in the Heavenly Origin Immortal Realm, unless a new immortal emperor appeared. However, becoming an immortal emperor is not that easy. There are countless immortal venerables in the Heavenly Origin Immortal Realm, and those immortal venerables have lived for who knows how many years, yet they still cannot glimpse even a sliver of an opportunity to break through to immortal venerable. Trying to pile up to the immortal emperor realm with massive cultivation resources is almost impossible. But the temptation of becoming an immortal emperor is too great for those immortal venerables. Whether it's the lifespan or the power to dominate everything after becoming an immortal emperor, it drives those immortal venerables crazy. They will try any method, no matter what it is. Chapter 13:15. Could it be that this red sedan chair is a taboo? Upon hearing Lu Chen's words, Cao Xian said worriedly, then perhaps we should return to Xuanyu Hall now. If certain immortal sects with ill intentions discover your presence, they might very well make a move against you. If things were truly as Lu Chen said, and the ability for mortals and immortals to procreate had returned to normal, then war between immortal sects would surely be unavoidable. A direct disciple of an immortal sect master like Lu Chen would definitely be the primary target of hostile forces. Once the hostile forces of Xuanyu Hall learned that Lu Chen was out training, they might very well send some powerful individuals to hunt him down. Lu Chen said, "Senior sister, don't worry. Have you forgotten about the life-saving magical treasure master gave me?" Hearing this, Cao Xian came to her senses. Recalling how Lu Chen had easily annihilated an immortal lord back then, the worries in the two women's hearts lessened slightly. Lu Chen said, however, that power is ultimately external. The heavenly origin immortal domain won't be peaceful for the next 100 million years. As long as a new immortal emperor doesn't appear, the war will continue. We must increase our strength as quickly as possible. Only then can we protect ourselves. Speaking of this, a woman's figure appeared in Lu Chen's mind. So why hadn't she returned to the heavenly origin immortal domain yet? Could it be that she got lost in the Chaos Sea? Although she could resist the erosion of chaos power, the Chaos Sea was vast. Moreover, the Chaos Sea was an endless expanse of chaos, making it impossible to find a direction to move in. Even with something that could resist the power of chaos, it wasn't guaranteed that one could get out. When he used the Cross-Realm Stone, he discovered that the heavenly origin immortal domain was just an insignificant existence within the Chaos Sea. Trying to return to the heavenly origin immortal domain was no different from searching for a needle in a haystack. Lu Chen also felt somewhat fortunate inside. Thankfully, he had the Cross-Realm Stone. Without it, it would have been almost impossible for him to return to the heavenly origin immortal domain. At this moment, Lu Chen looked at the two women, directly raised his arms, and pulled them into his embrace, saying with a smile, "So we need to seize the time to cultivate. Let me help the two senior sisters with your cultivation." Hearing Lu Chen's words, a blush couldn't help but appear on the cheeks of the two women. What did he mean by helping them cultivate? It was clear he was thinking of something else again. However, the two women didn't struggle, allowing Lu Chen to embrace them and enter the room. At the same time, somewhere in the Chaos Sea, an immortal ship emitting a purple glow was rapidly flying towards a certain direction. A woman dressed in a light purple gauze and wearing a veil stood at the bow of the immortal ship, looking at the endless darkness in the distance, seemingly deep in thought. At this moment, Chu Jungyu came up behind the woman. "Heavenly daughter, the seeking immortal stone still hasn't reacted." Hearing this, Zan Qingyan didn't feel surprised at all. In the vast Chaos Sea, how difficult was it to find the location of the heavenly origin immortal domain? Fortunately, they had obtained the Chaos Beast's core and could now resist the erosion of chaos power. Without being eroded by chaos power, with their lifespan, they could last for another 100 million years without any problem. However, the others from the Nine Heavens Academy were not as optimistic as Zan Qingyan. Zan Qingyan was an immortal emperor after all. Although her strength had fallen, as long as her immortal emperor soul was still there, it meant she was still alive. The others from the Nine Heavens Academy were not immortal emperors. When Zan Qingyan brought these people from the Nine Heavens Academy out of the Chaos Beast's belly, quite a few had already reached their limit. Most importantly, there was no spiritual energy or immortal energy in the Chaos Sea. These people from the Nine Heavens Academy had no way to improve their strength and could only watch as their lifespan came to an end. Zan Qingyan naturally also sensed the pessimistic emotions of these disciples from the Nine Heavens Academy. At this moment, she said indifferently to Chu Jungyu, "If your lifespan is approaching its end, this empress can use a secret technique to seal you. When we return to the heavenly origin immortal domain, this empress will release the seal." Hearing Zan Qingyan's words, Chu Jungyu's heart was filled with joy. Although being sealed would still consume vitality, the rate of vitality loss would become very slow. As long as they could be sealed, they might be able to last for another few 100 million years. Chu Jungyu immediately bowed to Zan Qingyan and said, "Thank you, Lady Heavenly Daughter." Zan Qingyan didn't say anything more. Her gaze remained fixed on the darkness in the distance. At this moment, a person's figure appeared in her mind. She wondered what the situation was like for that man now. Just then, suddenly, waves of red power emanated from the darkness in the distance. After sensing this power, Zan Qingyan immediately became vigilant. They had been drifting in the Chaos Sea for so long, and this was the first time they had felt this mysterious power. Just then, a red palanquin emitting a red glow appeared in front of the immortal ship. Seeing this red palanquin, Zan Qingyan's willow-like brows furrowed slightly. She had also stayed inside the Chaos Beast's belly and had paid attention to Lu Chen for a considerable amount of time, so she knew that this red palanquin had some connection to Lu Chen. Seeing this red palanquin, Chu Jungyu said in confusion, "How could a palanquin suddenly appear in the Chaos Sea?" Zan Qingyan didn't answer Chu Jungyu's question. She just watched the red palanquin in front of her vigilantly. As far as she knew, this red palanquin had a certain guiding effect. Back when they were inside the Chaos Beast's belly, Lu Chen's wives and concubines seemed to have been attracted to Lu Chen by this red palanquin. Now that this red palanquin had come to her, what was it trying to do? Could it be that Lu Chen wanted her to go find him? Thinking of this, Zan Qingyan no longer paid attention to the red palanquin. After making the immortal ship bypass the red palanquin, she continued to move in one direction. However, what Zan Qingyan didn't expect was that shortly after her immortal ship started moving forward, the red palanquin appeared in front of her again, and it appeared instantly. Upon seeing the red palanquin appear instantly, a look of shock appeared on Zan Qingyan's face. In the Chaos Sea, no power of the Great Tao could be used, especially spatial power. The entire Chaos Sea was in a state of chaos, with no concept of space or the Great Tao, let alone using the power of the spatial Great Tao. But this red palanquin appearing instantly before them clearly used spatial power, directly teleporting to their front. What kind of magical treasure was this red palanquin? How could it freely traverse space within the Chaos Sea? Something that even she, an immortal emperor, couldn't do, this red palanquin had done. Could it be that this red palanquin was a forbidden item? Zan Qingyan suppressed the urge to refine the red palanquin. This thing made even an immortal emperor like her feel eerie. It was best not to pay attention to it. If it was truly a forbidden item, and she provoked it, it might be even more difficult to get rid of. Subsequently, Zan Qingyan controlled the immortal ship and bypassed the red palanquin again. However, after not long, the red palanquin appeared in front of their immortal ship once more. Chapter 13:16 Zan Qingyan returns to Tianyan Fairyland. Seeing the red sedan chair appear again, Zan Qingyan didn't try to bypass it this time. Without a word, she directly attacked the red sedan chair. However, after her palm struck, the red sedan chair did not dodge at all. The sedan chair emitted waves of red light, and when the palm Zan Qingyan unleashed came into contact with the circles of red light, it was as if it was stuck by something, unable to move forward any further. Soon, the immortal energy in the palm dissipated. Zan Qingyan's gaze was cold, her brows tightly furrowed. This red sedan chair was actually able to easily block her attack. Although her realm and strength had significantly dropped, she was still an immortal emperor. The palm she unleashed just now had fused with the power of her divine soul, but even so, it couldn't shake the red sedan chair. This red sedan chair must be a forbidden item. Just as Zan Qingyan was thinking this, a vortex suddenly appeared in front of the red sedan chair, and through the vortex, one could actually directly see the heavenly evolution immortal domain. Seeing this scene, everyone from Judean Academy on the immortal ship was stunned. They could clearly feel the presence of spatial power, so the vortex should not be a projection. This meant that the red sedan chair could truly use the power of chaos within the Chaos Sea and even directly construct a spatial passage leading directly to the heavenly evolution immortal domain. For a time, everyone on the immortal ship except Zan Qingyan became excited. This is great, we're saved. We can finally return to the heavenly evolution immortal domain. What is the origin of this red sedan chair? Why can it construct a spatial passage in the Chaos Sea? Zan Qingyan did not speak, her icy eyes fixed on the red sedan chair not far away. She felt a very strong power of karma on the red sedan chair. Once she returned to the Heavenly Evolution Immortal Domain through the spatial passage constructed by the red sedan chair, she would be entangled in a great karma. After pondering for a moment, Zan Qingyan made her choice. She had been away from the Heavenly Evolution Immortal Domain for countless eons. She had to quickly return to the Heavenly Evolution Immortal Domain to recover her strength so that when the Heavenly Gate opened, she could leave this place of imprisonment. If she missed this opening of the Heavenly Gate, even with her immortal emperor's lifespan, she wouldn't be able to wait until the next opening. Moreover, once the Heavenly Gate opened, the true great calamity would descend upon this world. Before the Heavenly Gate opened, she also had to accumulate enough strength to resist the great terror outside the Heavenly Gate. Thinking of this, Zan Qingyan no longer hesitated and directly controlled the immortal ship to fly towards the spatial passage created by the red sedan chair. When the immortal ship passed through the spatial passage created by the red sedan chair, in just a moment, they appeared above a certain valley in the Heavenly Evolution Immortal Domain. We're back. We're finally back. This is great, I'm still alive. I never thought we would actually return alive from the Chaos Sea. Countless years have passed. I wonder how Judian Academy is doing. Zan Qingyan released the immortal energy from her body and scanned the surroundings. After confirming there was no danger nearby, she didn't hesitate at all and immediately sat down to recover her strength. In the next moment, the immortal energy in the air surged into Zan Qingyan's body at an extremely terrifying speed, and her realm also climbed rapidly. In just a moment, her realm recovered to the immortal king realm. However, recovering her immortal emperor strength would still take a long time. After her strength recovered to the immortal king realm, she stopped absorbing immortal energy. At this time, she searched for the figure of the red sedan chair but did not find its presence. Zan Qingyan thought to herself, since the red sedan chair sent her back, does that mean Lu Chen has also returned to the Heavenly Evolution Immortal Domain? As soon as she thought of Lu Chen, a trace of coldness appeared on Zan Qingyan's face. She had been battling Lu Chen for countless years in the Chaos Sea while her consciousness was unclear due to the erosion of chaotic energy. It was precisely because of Lu Chen that her strength had dropped significantly. If she hadn't been swallowed by a chaos beast, she would have probably already died in the Chaos Sea. It was impossible for her not to hold any resentment towards Lu Chen. Moreover, she had dug out the chaos beast's core when Lu Chen wasn't paying attention. Lu Chen probably didn't look favorably upon her either. This time back, the two of them were very likely to clash again. At this moment, Zan Qingyan used the power of heavenly secrets to begin calculating the location of Judian Academy and the whereabouts of Lu Chen. However, as soon as she started calculating, her face darkened. Judian Academy was currently hiding in a certain small world. Through the power of heavenly secrets, she quickly understood how Judian Academy had declined. After she left, Judian Academy no longer had an immortal emperor presiding over it and experienced internal strife, resulting in the deaths of many immortal venerables and immortal kings. Judian Academy's strength was greatly weakened. When the top forces in the Heavenly Evolution Immortal Domain discovered Judian Academy's decline in strength, they allied and besieged Judian Academy. Under the siege of those top forces, Judian Academy was defeated repeatedly, and eventually, Judian Academy's rule was overthrown. Some of the remaining people from Judian Academy fled to a small world that could shield heavenly secrets to hide. Of course, although that small world could shield heavenly secrets, for Zan Qingyan, the power of that small world to shield heavenly secrets was still unable to resist Zan Qingyan's power of deduction. After deducing the location of Judian Academy, Zan Qingyan immediately began deducing Lu Chen's location. Soon, a scene appeared before Zan Qingyan. In the scene, it was surprisingly a scene of Lu Chen cultivating with two women. Seeing this scene, Zan Qingyan was extremely speechless. She even somewhat didn't want to admit that she had actually battled such a lecher for countless years in the Chaos Sea. Couldn't this man do anything else besides this kind of thing? Zan Qingyan stopped her heavenly secrets deduction and then controlled the immortal ship to fly towards the small world where Judian Academy was hiding. At this time, in Icefrost City, Lu Chen was currently lying on Cao Xian's back, helping her cultivate. Suddenly, he felt a sensation of being spied upon. The great Tao Lu Chen comprehended was the Tao of creation, and he also knew the Tao of deduction. He could also use the power of heavenly secrets. When someone deduced him, he could clearly feel it. Lu Chen stopped his physical movements and immediately used the Tao of creation to evolve the Tao of deduction. Then, he mobilized the power of heavenly secrets from the Tao of deduction to counter-deduce who had just been deducing him. He had only been back for a short time and was already being deduced using the power of heavenly secrets. He highly suspected whether he had been exposed, and the other party might be confirming his location. End of this chapter. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 13-17 Junior Brother, can we also learn this method of splitting? Through Lu Chen's reverse deduction, he quickly saw a blurry figure. That figure was above the heavenly origin immortal realm, looking down upon all living beings, but Lu Chen couldn't see her face clearly. Just then, Lu Chen suddenly suffered backlash from the power of heavenly secrets. Lu Chen quickly stopped the deduction. He was somewhat disbelieving. His creation Tao was the origin of all great Taos, and the great Tao power he wielded was the purest, yet he couldn't see the other party's face clearly through the power of heavenly secrets from the deduction Tao. Wait a minute. What he saw just now was that person's figure above the heavenly origin immortal realm, as if the entire world was within her grasp. Could that person be an immortal emperor? If it was an immortal emperor, it was indeed possible for him to suffer backlash from the power of heavenly secrets by deducing her in reverse, as immortal emperors naturally possess the power to shield heavenly secrets. How could there still be an immortal emperor in the heavenly origin immortal realm? If an immortal emperor existed, the force they belonged to would dominate the heavenly origin immortal realm, and it would be impossible for such great chaos to erupt in the heavenly origin immortal realm. A woman's figure suddenly appeared in Lu Chen's mind. The person he had just deduced through the power of deduction seemed to be a woman. Although he couldn't see her face clearly, he could still see the build of her upper body. Could it be that Zan Qingyan, that immortal emperor, has returned? Thinking of this, Lu Chen's brows furrowed slightly. Zan Qingyan was also a woman who met the system's conditions, but he felt that taking down Zan Qingyan would likely not be easy. Even with the help of that red palanquin, Lu Chen was still wary of Zan Qingyan. After all, she was an immortal emperor. If Zan Qingyan really returned to the heavenly origin immortal realm, that fellow would likely recover her strength in a very short time, and then he would be in trouble. Now, he could only hope that the elusive red palanquin could suppress an immortal emperor. If it was truly Zan Qingyan who had just deduced him, then Zan Qingyan must know his location by now. Perhaps once that woman's strength recovers, she will come looking for trouble. Although the two of them had previously joined forces against the Chaos Beast, he didn't think their relationship was very good. After all, before joining forces against the Chaos Beast, the two of them had fought in the Chaos Sea for countless years. Moreover, the other party was an immortal emperor, the strongest in the heavenly origin immortal realm. Could she tolerate an immortal king making a move on her? Lu Chen thought to himself, it seems he must quickly increase his strength. Even if he isn't Zan Qingyan's opponent, he must possess enough strength to shield heavenly secrets. This way, when Zan Qingyan comes looking for him, he can run to a certain place to hide and slowly increase his strength. At this time, Cao Xian saw that Lu Chen had stopped moving, turned her head, looked at Lu Chen, and asked, "What's wrong?" Seeing Lu Chen's pale face and injured appearance, Cao Xian was startled. Lu Chen, are you injured?" After hearing Cao Xian's words, Xiao Zuying, who was meditating and adjusting her breath, also opened her eyes. Seeing Lu Chen's pale face and weak aura, Xiao Zuying also asked nervously, "Junior brother, what happened to you?" Lu Chen took out a pill for healing the body and swallowed it, then said, "I'm fine, don't worry. I just used the power of heavenly secrets to deduce someone's location and suffered a little backlash. Alright, let's continue cultivating." Stimulated by what just happened, Lu Chen realized the importance of increasing his strength. He then used the creation Tao and created another physical body. The strength of this physical body was the same as Lu Chen's. Seeing this physical body, both women were stunned. The next moment, the blush on their faces became even redder, like ripe apples, almost dripping with water. Before, when they cultivated, they always went one by one. When one cultivated, the other would cultivate by herself. Looking at Lu Chen's current appearance, was he planning to cultivate together? Xiao Zuying opened her mouth and asked, "Is this junior brother's clone?" Regarding clones, they were both a little unwilling in their hearts. If they could cultivate with the main body, they would naturally prefer to cultivate with the main body. Lu Chen said with a smile, the physical bodies I create are all my bodies. There is no such thing as a main body or a clone. It's just that we call them main body and clone for the sake of distinction usually. The two women seemed not to understand Lu Chen's meaning. Lu Chen continued, I follow the creation Tao and can create my own physical bodies at any time, and these physical bodies are all controlled by the same divine soul, so there is no such thing as a main body or a clone. When Lu Chen was in Baiyu City at the beginning, he originally wanted to leave a physical body behind, but at that time, he had not been back in the heavenly origin immortal realm for long and was greatly suppressed by the laws of the heavenly origin immortal realm. He had no way to mobilize the creation Tao. This was not strange. He had just come out of the Chaos Sea and still carried the aura of chaos power. In the eyes of the heavenly Tao of the heavenly origin immortal realm, he was an invader, so suppressing his strength was very normal. However, now he had gotten used to the laws of the heavenly origin immortal realm, and the heavenly Tao of the heavenly origin immortal realm's suppression of him was no longer as severe as it was at the beginning. Only then was he able to use the kind of puppetry he used inside the chaos beast's belly. Lu Chen thought to himself, he just didn't know how far his divine soul could control a physical body under the suppression of the heavenly Tao laws of the heavenly origin immortal realm. After hearing Lu Chen's explanation, both women were a little surprised. Then the two women said, Junior brother, can we also learn this clone method? Lu Chen said, you can learn the clone method, but if you want the clones to be as lifelike as mine, you'll have to let me personally create the bodies for you. This clone method was just a slightly more advanced form of puppetry. Xiao Zuying looked at Lu Chen's eyes brightly and said, Junior brother, I want to learn. Lu Chen said with a smile, okay, I will now impart the cultivation method to you. As his voice fell, Lu Chen pressed the two women down, and then imparted the puppetry to them. At the same time, Zan Qingyan was preparing to go find the people of the Nine Heavens Academy when she suddenly felt a very powerful deduction force deducing her location. Zan Qingyan frowned, and immediately mobilized the power of heavenly secrets, deducing the other party in reverse. As a result, she saw Lu Chen's two physical bodies busy. Zan Qingyan's willow-like brows furrowed slightly. How could it be this fellow? It wasn't strange that this fellow knew a little deduction technique, but to mobilize the power of heavenly secrets to deduce herself, he had to walk the deduction Tao. She herself only knew the deduction Tao because of her special physique. Zan Qingyan suddenly recalled Lu Chen's performance inside the chaos beast's belly. The great Tao this fellow walked seemed to be able to deduce all great Taos and mobilize the great Tao power of all great Taos. Could Lu Chen's physique still be used in the heavenly origin immortal realm? The heavenly origin immortal realm has its own laws and a different heavenly Tao. A person might be powerful in a certain world and possess a powerful physique, but once they go to a world with different laws and a different heavenly Tao, the power and physique on that person might very likely become unusable. Lu Chen's physique can use the power of all great Taos. Doesn't this disrupt the balance of the heavenly origin immortal realm? How could the heavenly Tao of the heavenly origin immortal realm still allow him to use such power? Thinking of Lu Chen's terrifying physique, Zan Qingyan's expression turned a little ugly. At this moment, Lu Chen had already been regarded as Zan Qingyan's greatest enemy. Originally, she was the most talented genius in the history of the Tianyan immortal domain. She had comprehended many great Taos, and coupled with her special physique, the legendary Chaos Holy Body, she could balance the power of these great Taos, allowing them to stabilize within her body. Now, someone had appeared who had comprehended even more great Taos than her, which gave Zan Qingyan a deep sense of crisis. Without any hesitation, she once again performed a divination regarding Lu Chen. This time, she intended to divine Lu Chen's past and future. Soon, Lu Chen's past appeared in her mind. Seeing Lu Chen's past, Zan Qingyan chuckled, he was like this billions of years ago. He really hasn't changed at all. In her divination, she discovered that the former Lu Chen was a lecher. However, although Lu Chen was lustful, the saintesses and princesses from the top powers in the Tianyan immortal domain all wanted to become his Tao companion. The reason was simple. Lu Chen's talent was too extraordinary, and he broke through to the immortal king realm in an extremely short time. Seeing that Lu Chen took even less time than herself to break through to the immortal king realm, Zan Qingyan's sense of crisis deepened. Zan Qingyan continued to divine Lu Chen's past. Seeing Lu Chen being besieged by the top powers of the Tianyan immortal domain, which ultimately forced him to leave the Chaos Sea with his many wives and concubines, Zan Qingyan thought to herself, what a selfish fellow, he even takes his wives and concubines with him to their deaths. After that was when she and Lu Chen met and what happened inside the Chaos Beast's belly. Seeing Lu Chen reincarnate countless times inside the Chaos Beast's belly just to find his wives and concubines, Zan Qingyan thought to herself, although he's a bit selfish, his feelings for his wives and concubines are genuine. He's not entirely an evil person. Zan Qingyan's divination ended when she and Lu Chen separated. She couldn't divine what happened afterward. Zan Qingyan's brows furrowed. She wanted to divine how Lu Chen returned to the Tianyan immortal domain, but she couldn't. Could it be that Lu Chen was also brought back by that red sedan chair? Thinking of this, Zan Qingyan tried to divine the origin of that red sedan chair again, but the result was still that she couldn't divine it. In fact, she had tried to divine the origin of the red sedan chair while she was inside the Chaos Beast's belly. When she saw the red sedan chair in the Chaos Sea before, she divined again, but the result was still a blank space, she couldn't divine anything. Forget it, if she can't divine it, so be it. Zan Qingyan sat cross-legged and began to frantically absorb the immortal energy from the air. Next, she prepared to divine Lu Chen's future. Divining the future consumed more power than divining the past, so she needed to recover first. After 2 months, Zan Qingyan's strength had recovered considerably. Feeling that she was ready, she opened her eyes and began to divine Lu Chen's future. She wanted to see what kind of existence Lu Chen, a person with such high talent, would become in the future. Of course, what she cared about most was whether Lu Chen would obstruct her path. However, as soon as she divined Lu Chen's future, all that appeared before her was boundless darkness, she couldn't see anything. Zan Qingyan was stunned for a moment. Even if she couldn't divine Lu Chen's future, what appeared before her should have been a blank space. Why was it complete darkness? Could it be that she had divined too deeply and directly divined Lu Chen's ultimate end? Zan Qingyan slightly withdrew some of her heavenly secrets power and divined Lu Chen's future again. The result was the same as before, also a stretch of darkness. In the boundless darkness, there was nothing, nothing existed, as if she were in a state of chaos. Zan Qingyan was stunned, and then she divined multiple times, but the results of her divinations were all the same. Seeing that she couldn't divine Lu Chen's future, Zan Qingyan gave up. She thought to herself, since Lu Chen was also in the Tianyan immortal domain and his talent was so terrifying, they were bound to cross paths in the future. She could change her approach. If she couldn't divine Lu Chen's future, she would divine her own future. Thinking of this, Zan Qingyan mobilized her heavenly secrets power and divined her own future. The next moment, a scene appeared in her mind. In the scene, she and Lu Chen were in a bridal chamber, and the two of them were engaged in intimate acts. Seeing this scene, Zan Qingyan's face instantly darkened, and she immediately stopped the divination. How could this be? Could it be because she was tainted by the karma of that red sedan chair? Zan Qingyan didn't believe this result, so she divined again. This time, the result of the divination changed. In her mind, she only saw Lu Chen's back, and in front of Lu Chen was a large door. Zan Qingyan was greatly startled. This was the heaven gate. Lu Chen ultimately left the Tianyan immortal domain. As soon as she thought that Lu Chen could leave this world, Zan Qingyan began to scheme in her heart. If she could cooperate with Lu Chen, would she also be able to leave this world? Zan Qingyan knew very well that even if the future she divined could be changed, the extent of the change would be very small, especially when it involved the existence of the heaven gate. However, thinking of the first scene she divined, Zan Qingyan's face turned cold again. She, a dignified immortal emperor, would ultimately become that man's plaything. She would never let such a thing happen. Half a year later. Icefrost City. With Lu Chen's help, Xiao Zuying also successfully broke through to the true immortal realm, and her realm quickly stabilized. It was just a pity that the two women's bellies still showed no reaction. Instead, the population of Icefrost City was increasing, especially the newborn population. Today, Lu Chen was cultivating with the two women as usual. Just then, he suddenly sensed a group of people appearing at the entrance of the manor. One of them was He Xuan, the city lord of Icefrost City. He didn't recognize the others, but among those people were two mortal immortals. He Xuan respectfully said at this time, "Your Excellency Envoy, these people are from White Feather City. They say they have important matters to see you about." Hearing this, Lu Chen immediately withdrew his clone from Cao Xian. Soon, his figure appeared outside the manor. Upon seeing Lu Chen come out, the people from White Feather City immediately bowed to Lu Chen. "Greetings, sir." He Xuan also bowed and said, "Greetings, Your Excellency Envoy." Lu Chen looked at He Xuan and said, "I still have things to do, City Lord He, please go about your business." He Xuan immediately said, "Okay, I won't disturb Your Excellency Envoy anymore." As his voice fell, He Xuan left the manor. After He Xuan left, Lu Chen brought those few people to the manor's council hall and then set up a soundproof barrier. After setting up the barrier, Lu Chen finally asked, "What happened in White Feather City?" One person took out a letter and handed it to Lu Chen, saying, "This is a letter from the city lord to you, sir. Please read the letter first." Lu Chen didn't hesitate, took the letter, opened it, and scanned it. He immediately understood what was going on. It turned out that Lu Zheng suspected that his return to the Tianyan immortal domain had been discovered. Chapter 13-19 Be back. After finishing reading Lu Zhengji's analysis in the letter, Lu Chen felt it made a lot of sense. At first, he thought that the sudden spread of events from over 1 billion years ago was because that guy, Lu Jingfu, wanted to use this matter to remind the people of the Heavenly Summer Immortal Dynasty that he had connections with those top powers. But thinking about it now, Lu Jingfu didn't deliberately remind others. After all, spreading this matter would earn him the reputation of betraying the Heavenly Summer Immortal Dynasty, although this reputation didn't really affect him. Lu Zhengji's speculation was that someone knew he had returned, which was why they widely spread this rumor, hoping to use him to deal with Lu Jingfu. The person who would do such a thing was most likely one of the kings of the Heavenly Summer Immortal Dynasty. Lu Chen chuckled, thinking, still trying to kill with a borrowed knife. Once his strength recovered, he wouldn't spare any of those who had participated in surrounding him before, no matter which king it was. Now that he could create clones, he could create multiple clones to do several things simultaneously. Since he couldn't recover his strength anytime soon, he might as well expand his own influence. The people from Baiyu City immediately said in unison, "Yes, sir." Lu Chen then called for the mansion's servants and had them settle the people from Baiyu City. Afterward, Lu Chen's clone returned to the room to continue cultivating with Cao Xian. Several months later, in a certain mountain valley. Just then, an immortal ship appeared above the valley. When the demon beasts below discovered the immortal ship, those great demons instantly became enraged, and then countless great demons attacked the immortal ship. Among these great demons, there were indeed immortal king-level existences. At this moment, a giant golden rock released a terrifying aura within the valley, seemingly wanting to scare away the people on the immortal ship with its aura. "Humans, this is not a place you should come." After the golden rock's voice fell, it transformed into a human form with golden hair. The other party directly rushed towards their valley without hesitation. In Jinyan's view, this was clearly to seize the valley. The valley had rich immortal energy, and many immortals had set their sights on it in the past. However, because there were several immortal king-level existences, every invader was chased away by the demon race. But today, this immortal ship made Jinyan feel a trace of unease. For some reason, Jinyan always felt that there was an extremely terrifying existence on this immortal ship. Since becoming an immortal king, it had been a long time since he felt such a sense of impending death. Their demon race had special physiques, even against an immortal venerable, they should be able to contend. They had chased away human powerhouses at the immortal venerable level in the past, and even those immortal venerables had not made them feel the sense of death crisis they felt today. Also, when humans attacked them before, there were always many warships, but today there was only one. Although they didn't have immortal venerable level existences, because of the demon race's strong bodies, they could also be considered a major power in the heavenly origin immortal domain. Daring to attack them with just one immortal ship made Jinyan feel something was very wrong. Seeing the overwhelming number of demon beasts rushing towards the immortal ship, Chu Jungyu stood on the deck of the immortal ship and asked, Heavenly Maiden, should we make a move? Zan Qingyan said indifferently, no need. Currently, Chu Zhengyu and the others had not recovered their strength and had no chance of winning against these demon beasts with special physiques. Of course, they were just mere demon beasts, she alone could easily destroy them. The next moment, black mist appeared above the valley. This black mist transformed into a giant hand and directly slapped down towards the rushing demon beasts. A demon beast immortal king directly met it with a punch. He originally thought this palm could be easily shattered by him. However, what he didn't expect was that as soon as his fist touched the giant hand formed by the black mist, it was directly grasped within the palm of the black hand. The demon beast immortal king's vision instantly turned dark. He frantically attacked inside but couldn't break out of the darkness. Just then, his body was corroded by the black mist, and his eyes turned blood red. Ah ah ah. Hearing the screams coming from within the black mist, the other demon beasts who were rushing up stopped. They looked at the hand formed by the black mist in terror. After a short while, the black mist hand released its grip, and a completely black tiger appeared in the sky. A strange power emanated from the tiger, making people feel that their demon energy was subtly suppressed. Seeing that the immortal king's state was very wrong, Jinyan suddenly thought of something, and his pupils instantly contracted, his face showing terror. He muttered to himself, no, impossible. Jinyan's eyes flickered, it's her. It must be her who has returned. Jinyan was so scared that he quickly said to the other demon beasts, run. Immediately flee from here. After finishing the transmission, Jinyan didn't hesitate at all and directly turned into a streak of light and disappeared. Seeing that even Jinyan was scared and fleeing, the other immortal kings of the demon race also immediately scattered and fled. Seeing those demon beasts scared and scattering, Zan Qingyan said indifferently, I didn't expect that after leaving the heavenly origin immortal domain for so long, there are still people who can recognize me instantly. Zan Qingyan felt deep fear from Jinyan just now. It was clear that Jinyan had recognized her identity. Zan Qingyan then slowly raised her jade hand. The next moment, her body released vast heavenly demon power. After the heavenly demon power gathered together, it turned into a giant sword. Immediately after, the giant sword directly plunged into the valley. In an instant, the mountains collapsed, the ground cracked, and space shattered. However, after the space shattered, a light blue world barrier appeared before everyone. Zan Qingyan once again mobilized heavenly demon power, and the blue world barrier instantly shattered. At this time, the immortals within the small world were already in chaos. Seeing the world barrier open, Zan Qingyan controlled the immortal ship and entered the small world. As soon as Zan Qingyan entered the small world, an immortal venerable and several immortal kings from the Nine Heavens Institute appeared before Zan Qingyan. Seeing the woman standing on the deck of the immortal ship and the heavenly demon power emanating from her, the immortal venerable and immortal kings of the Nine Heavens Institute were stunned, taking a long time to recover. End of chapter. Chapter 13:20 Welcome the return of the goddess. Seeing that the people from the Nine Heavens court were just stunned in place after seeing her, Zan Qingyan said coldly, what's wrong? It's been too long since I've been back, and you no longer recognize me. As her voice fell, the terrifying power of the heavenly demon on Zan Qingyan's body was released. Although Zan Qingyan's aura was only at the immortal king realm, this pure power of the heavenly demon caused everyone present to feel an inexplicable palpitation, including that immortal venerable. After the white water immortal venerable recovered, he immediately bowed to Zan Qingyan, welcome back, heavenly maiden. Upon hearing this, the immortal kings behind the white water immortal venerable, as well as the immortals in the small world, finally reacted. Everyone knelt down in unison, and their voices echoed throughout the entire small world. Welcome back, heavenly maiden. Zan Qingyan glanced at the whitewater immortal venerable with a blank expression and said coldly, the former Nine Heavens court was the overlord of the heavenly Tao immortal domain, but now it's cowering and barely surviving in this small world. It truly brings shame to me. Hearing Zan Qingyan's words, the people felt their faces burning. Even though their heavenly maiden had left the heavenly Tao immortal domain, with the Nine Heavens Court's foundation and numerous immortal venerables, they could still control the entire heavenly Tao immortal domain. However, they fell into internal strife, which ultimately led to a rapid decline in the Nine Heavens Court's strength, and the immortal venerables also perished in repeated internal conflicts. Now, only one immortal venerable remains, and his lifespan is also nearing its end. The Whitewater Immortal Venerable immediately said, "This subordinate is incompetent and failed to protect the Nine Heavens Court, disappointing the Heavenly Maiden. Please punish me." Zan Qingyan swept a glance at the Whitewater Immortal Venerable and said indifferently, "I wouldn't go so far as to hold a dying person accountable." What had happened was already in the past, and it was too late to say anything now. However, the Nine Heavens Court was founded based on Zan Qingyan herself. As long as Zan Qingyan was still alive, the Nine Heavens Court would rise again. Zan Qingyan looked at the Whitewater Immortal Venerable and said indifferently, "Whitewater Immortal Venerable, your lifespan is nearing its end, and you don't have much time left. You were severely injured in the past, and your foundation is damaged, so it's impossible for you to take that step. If you want to continue living, there is only one path." Upon hearing Zan Qingyan's words, the Whitewater Immortal Venerable immediately understood what path Zan Qingyan was referring to, but he didn't agree immediately. He hesitated. Generally, when an immortal venerable's lifespan is nearing its end, they either consume immortal herbs containing vitality or break through the limit to become an immortal emperor. But in the Nine Heavens Court, there was another way to survive, which was to be converted into a heavenly demon by Zan Qingyan and become her demon slave. Once they became heavenly demons, they would be completely under Zan Qingyan's control, and if Zan Qingyan died, they would also die. Most importantly, they would never be able to break through again, and there would be no chance of reincarnation. Although the divine souls of immortals also couldn't resist the erosion of time and would gradually disappear, it wasn't impossible to have a chance of reincarnation. If they could find a chance for reincarnation, they could live another life, but after becoming heavenly demons, there would be no chance of reincarnation at all. Unless absolutely necessary, no one in the Nine Heavens Court was willing to become a heavenly demon. Furthermore, there was another reason why people were unwilling to become heavenly demons. Any heavenly demon converted by Zan Qingyan could be completely absorbed by her and converted into her personal power when she needed strength. When Zan Qingyan was the empress, she converted a considerable number of heavenly demons, but now there were not many heavenly demons left around Zan Qingyan. It was obvious what had happened to those heavenly demons. After hesitating for a while, the Whitewater Immortal Venerable finally said, "Heavenly Maiden, I still want to try if I can take that step." Seeing that the Whitewater Immortal Venerable was unwilling to be converted into a heavenly demon, Zan Qingyan didn't say anything more. She also knew her own situation. When she cultivated, she would unconsciously absorb the power of the heavenly demons from those heavenly demons, causing the heavenly demons she converted to become her nourishment instead. After Jin Yan fled, he ran for a whole month. After confirming that Zan Qingyan hadn't caught up, he finally relaxed. At this time, another demon race immortal king came to Jin Yan's side and asked, "Jin Yan, what's going on with that woman? You seem to know her." Jin Yan said with a worried expression, "It's normal that you don't know her. She has been missing for who knows how many years. She is the legendary demon empress." Hearing Jin Yan's words, the demon race present were all stunned. Demon Empress. Although they had never seen the Demon Empress, they had heard more or less about her deeds. After all, she was once the overlord of the heavenly Tao immortal domain. A demon race said, "Didn't the rumors say she entered the Chaos Sea? Why would she suddenly appear in the Star Valley?" Jin Yan said, "I sensed that her aura is only at the Immortal King realm. Her realm should have dropped. Perhaps she found a way to get out of the Chaos Sea." For a moment, the demon race panicked. It's over, it's over. That demoness is back, and the heavenly Tao immortal domain will surely be massacred by her. What should we do now? Rumor has it that the demon empress likes to devour the essence, blood and divine souls of creatures. If she wants to quickly recover her cultivation, she will definitely start a war. We must tell the other forces about this and seal her before she recovers her strength. That was the demon empress who suppressed an era. Even though countless years had passed, just thinking of her would cause people to feel fear unconsciously. Jin Yan thought for a moment and then said, "Let's go to the Azure Dragon Palace. The news of the Demon Empress's return must be known to more people." As his voice fell, Jin Yan led the demon race towards the direction of the Azure Dragon Palace. If there was any force that hated the Nine Heavens Court the most, it was none other than the Azure Dragon Palace. Because of their strong physiques, the dragon race was targeted by the Demon Empress, and a large number of dragons were converted into heavenly demons. Later, after Zan Qingyan left the heavenly Dao immortal domain, it was also the dragon race that was the first to stand up and lead the overthrow of the Nine Heavens Court's rule. Lu Chen's clone followed the soldiers of White Feather City back to White Feather City. When Lu Zheng saw that Lu Chen had actually returned, he was slightly surprised. He had thought that once Lu Chen left last time, it would be unlikely for him to return for at least 100 years. Lu Zheng took Lu Chen to a secret room where arrays to isolate aura and prevent heavenly secrets from being sent were set up. After activating the arrays, Lu Zheng then bowed to Lu Chen. "Greetings, Great King." Lu Chen said, "Dispense with the formalities. Tell me about the recent situation in White Feather City." Lu Zheng then told Lu Chen about the development of White Feather City. Currently, White Feather City has a population of 10 million mortals and 2,000 immortals, and among the mortal population, over 1 million are cultivators. To be able to develop to this scale in such a short period of time is enough to show how hard Lu Zheng had worked. After finishing talking about the development of White Feather City, Lu Zheng asked curiously, "Why did the Great King return so quickly?" White Feather City is close to the Chaos Sea, the spiritual energy is thin, there is no immortal energy, and occasionally some chaotic energy drifts over. This place is not suitable for cultivation. End of this chapter. Chapter 1321. I am preparing to attack Purple Moon City tomorrow. Lu Chen knew what Lu Zheng was worried about. For him now, the most important thing was to recover his cultivation. Baiyu City was not a suitable place for cultivation. Lu Chen said, "This is just one of my clones." Hearing Lu Chen's words, Lu Zheng reacted. So it was just a clone, then it was fine. But then again, why couldn't he sense that it was a clone? In his perception, the divine soul of the Lu Chen in front of him was complete, not at all like a clone. Although he was curious, Lu Zheng didn't ask further. Lu Chen then asked, "Has there been any abnormality in the surrounding cities of Baiyu City recently?" Lu Zheng thought for a moment and replied, "No." Lu Chen thought to himself, if the person spreading the rumors intended to use someone else to eliminate Lu Jingfu, then before he grew stronger, the other party should not make any moves. On the contrary, that person might even hope that he could grow stronger as quickly as possible, so that he could help that person deal with Lu Jingfu. Now that the immortal emperor of the Tianxia immortal dynasty was nearing his end, the struggle for the throne had reached the most crucial moment. However, being secretly watched by someone, and not knowing who was watching him, made Lu Chen feel very uncomfortable. Lu Chen didn't hesitate at all and directly activated the great Tao of deduction, then used the power of heavenly secrets to deduce the person who might have discovered his identity. Just at this moment, the figure of a man appeared before him. When Lu Chen wanted to continue the deduction, he suddenly felt that the immortal energy in his body was depleted. Compared to the consumption during battle, the consumption of immortal energy by deduction techniques was terrifying. But fortunately, they already had a clue. "Do you have any impression of the person I just deduced?" Lu Zheng replied, "If I'm not mistaken, that person should be Jia Wenrui, the city lord of Ziyu City." Lu Chen asked, "What is his realm?" Lu Zheng replied, "He should be in the heaven immortal realm." Lu Chen thought for a moment. If he was in the heaven immortal realm, then he could be dealt with. The main thing was that he wanted to find the person behind Jia Wenrui through Jia Wenrui. Of course, he could also use deduction techniques to find the other party, but the stronger the other party's strength, the more immortal energy he would consume during the deduction. With his current strength, even if he continued the deduction, he would probably only be able to see a back. Just like when he deduced the person who was peeking at him not long ago, he could at most deduce a scene, but he couldn't see the person's face clearly. At that time, he only speculated that Zan Qingyan was peeking at him. To accurately deduce the other party's identity and see the other party's face clearly, he would probably have to wait until his cultivation reached the golden immortal realm. He couldn't wait that long. Thinking of this, Lu Chen said to Lu Zheng, "This king is preparing to attack Ziyu City tomorrow." Hearing this, Lu Zheng was stunned. Although Baiyu City had been expanding these years, there had been almost no wars, only some small conflicts. In Lu Zheng's opinion, now that King Chen's strength had not recovered, it was not suitable to start a war. Once a war was started, unless they had the absolute strength to overwhelm the other party, the war would not be something they could stop whenever they wanted. They only had 2 heaven immortals on their side, and they were 2 heaven immortals who were nearing their end. Jia Wenrui's current strength was still at the peak of the heaven immortal stage. Lu Zheng's was very worried that he and Liao Shaoshuang combined would not be Jia Wenrui's match. Even if the two of them could defeat Jia Wenrui, there was a high possibility that there was a second heaven immortal in Ziyu City. After all, Jia Wenrui was most likely backed by a certain king of the Tianxia immortal dynasty. With that king's support, Ziyu City's strength would definitely not be weak. Lu Zheng said, "Your Highness, your strength has not yet recovered. Rashly attacking Ziyu City may be disadvantageous to us." Lu Chen said indifferently, "You don't need to worry about this. Since the person behind Jia Wenrui didn't directly reveal this king's matter, it proves that the person behind Jia Wenrui hopes that this king can grow stronger and threaten Lu Jingfu. Just a heaven immortal, that person wouldn't go so far as to protect him." Lu Zheng said somewhat awkwardly, "Your Highness, this subordinate means that this subordinate and Shaoshuang are now nearing their end, and their strength has declined severely. It is very likely that they are not Jia Wenrui's match." Lu Chen said indifferently, "This king will make a move at that time." Lu Zheng felt the aura on Lu Chen's body. It was only at the Earth Immortal realm, one major realm lower than Jia Wenrui. Although King Chen had the ability to fight across realms when he was young, he had only been out of the Sea of Chaos for not many years. Affected by the power of chaos, it was uncertain whether he could still possess the ability to fight across realms. Lu Chen knew what Lu Zheng was worried about and continued, "My master gave me a lot of magic treasures. You don't need to think too much." Hearing Lu Chen say this, the worry in Lu Zheng's heart finally eased slightly. This subordinate understands. Tomorrow, this subordinate will mobilize the army to Ziyu City. Unlike those large immortal sects, in the mundane world, the condition for winning a war depends on the confrontation between the top combat powers. As long as the top combat power on one side defeats the other party's top combat power, the other party's lower-level combat power will lose the will to resist. However, it is different in those large immortal sects. To launch a war, those large immortal sects usually need to prepare for decades, hundreds of years, or even thousands of years. Wars between immortal sects usually do not involve the direct dispatch of the top combat power of the immortal sects, because there is more than one immortal sect in this world. If you dispatch the top combat power right away, no one can be sure whether other immortal sects will take the opportunity to launch a sneak attack. Of course, this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that even immortal kings, as long as there are enough of them and they unite and use some formations or powerful magic treasures, it is possible to kill immortal venerables. This is why wars between immortal sects not only take a long time to prepare in the early stage, but also last for a long time. The war between Baiyu City and Ziyu City is no different from a small skirmish. There is no need to prepare at all. If one side wants to start a war, they can lead troops to attack the other side on the same day. The next morning, deafening drum sounds echoed over Baiyu City. In about an hour, the army of Baiyu City completed its assembly. Just as the soldiers of Baiyu City were puzzled as to why the city lord wanted to assemble the army, Lu Zheng's powerful voice echoed over Baiyu City. "This city lord has found out that the people who secretly killed our soldiers in Baiyu City are from Ziyu City, so this city lord has decided to send troops to attack Ziyu City today to avenge our tragically killed compatriots." Hearing Lu Zheng's words, the soldiers were stunned. This was too sudden, wasn't it? However, after coming back to their senses, the soldiers immediately shouted loudly, "Revenge! Revenge! Revenge! Kill! Kill! Kill!" The roaring of the soldiers echoed over Baiyu City. Seeing the spirit of these soldiers, Lu Chen was very satisfied. Lu Zheng shouted at this time, "Depart." As the words fell, more than a dozen warships from Baiyu City flew towards Ziyu City. End of this chapter. Chapter 13:22 Old man, are you going to fight for a few ants in this city? Purple Moon City, City Lord's Mansion. Jia Wenrui was still cultivating in the secret chamber when his heart suddenly twitched and the immortal energy in his body became restless. Jia Wenrui quickly ended his cultivation and stabilized the immortal energy in his body. Just then, the voice of the City Lord's Mansion's personal guard commander came through. "City Lord, there's a big movement in White Feather City." Hearing this, Jia Wenrui immediately got up from the ground. The next moment, He arrived at the council hall, and the personal guard commander of the city lord's mansion also instantly appeared in the council hall. Jia Wenrui looked at the personal guard commander and asked, "What did White Feather City do?" The personal guard commander replied, "Lu Zheng's is leading troops towards Purple Moon City. They say we killed White Feather City's soldiers, so they want revenge." Hearing this, Jia Wenrui was stunned for a moment. He did indeed kill a few soldiers, one of whom was a personal guard of the White Feather City Lord's mansion, but how did White Feather City know? However, that wasn't important. If they knew, they knew. How dare the other party come to attack him? Did Lu Zheng's think that with just him and Liao Shaoshuang, two heavenly immortals whose time was running out, they could take Purple Moon City? They were too naive. Not to mention that Purple Moon City also had two heavenly immortals, and their heavenly immortals were at their peak strength. The most important thing was that there was a great formation beneath Purple Moon City. Even if a heavenly immortal attacked, they could withstand it. Even if the heavenly immortals of Purple Moon City didn't make a move, as long as the great formation of Purple Moon City wasn't destroyed, White Feather City might not be able to take Purple Moon City. Jia Wenrui then said, "Immediately activate the great formation, assemble the soldiers, and prepare to meet the enemy." Although King Anyuan's order to him was to monitor White Feather City's every move, since White Feather City had come knocking, he couldn't do nothing. This was a good opportunity for him to severely wound White Feather City and make them behave themselves in the future. He just didn't know if this attack on Purple Moon City by White Feather City was Lu Zhengji's own idea, or Lu Chen's idea. If it was Lu Chen's idea, it meant that Lu Chen had likely returned to White Feather City and was planning to expand his territory. Not long after the great formation of Purple Moon City was activated, more than a dozen warships from White Feather City appeared not far from Purple Moon City. After seeing the White Feather City warships appear, Jia Wenrui flew into the sky, waiting for White Feather City's attack. At this time, the more than a dozen warships slowly stopped, and Lu Zhengji's voice came from a distance, "Jia Wenrui, you inexplicably killed my White Feather City soldiers. I am here today to demand an explanation." Lu Zheng's had not found out that the disappearance of White Feather City's soldiers was directly related to Jia Wenrui, but Lu Chen had deduced that his identity might have been discovered by Jia Wenrui, so Lu Zheng's believed that the disappearance of White Feather City's soldiers was related to Jia Wenrui. Of course, this was just an excuse to attack Purple Moon City. Even if White Feather City's soldiers hadn't disappeared, they would still find another excuse if they wanted to attack Purple Moon City. Hearing this, Jia Wenrui sneered, "They were just a few mortals. It doesn't matter if they died. Old man, are you going to start a war with this city lord for the sake of a few ants?" In Jia Wenrui's eyes, those mortal soldiers were nothing. Even if he admitted it, it wouldn't matter. After hearing Jia Wenrui's words, Lu Zheng's was stunned for a moment. So the disappearance of White Feather City's soldiers was really related to Jia Wenrui. This meant that Jia Wenrui was indeed likely to have known Lu Chen's identity and told the identity of Lu Chen to a certain king of the Tianxia Immortal Dynasty. Lu Zheng said, "Since you've admitted it yourself, there's nothing more to say. Let's fight. I want to avenge the soldiers of my White Feather City who died." Speaking of this, Lu Zheng gave the order to the warships behind him, "Attack." As his voice fell, various colored attack formations appeared in front of the warships. Immediately after, more than a dozen beams of light containing destructive power bombarded the formation barrier of Purple Moon City. Jia Wenrui said unhurriedly, "With you two heavenly immortals whose time is running out, you dare to attack Purple Moon City. You are truly courting death." As Jia Wenrui's voice fell, he directly rushed out of the formation barrier of Purple Moon City. The moment he left the barrier, the other heavenly immortal of Purple Moon City also appeared beside him. In this kind of war between a few heavenly immortals, as long as the outcome of the high-end combat power is determined, the victory of the war is decided. Jia Wenrui didn't even bother to pay attention to the warships of White Feather City. He planned to directly attack Lu Zheng's and severely wound Lu Zheng's and Liao Shaoshuang. As for killing the two of them, he didn't have that idea for the time being. If he killed these two people, he would likely lose the clue to King Chen. Leaving Lu Zheng's and Liao Shaoshuang in White Feather City, King Chen might return to White Feather City again. After all, those people in White Feather City were the only remaining old subordinates who followed King Chen. Before King Chen recovered his strength, he should not easily abandon this force. Seeing another heavenly immortal appear beside Zhao Wenrui, Lu Zhengji's brows furrowed slightly. Purple Moon City did indeed have another heavenly immortal. It seemed that they would have to rely on their great king next, but before that, they had to help their great king consume some of the strength of Zhao Wenrui and that heavenly immortal. Thinking of this, Lu Zhengzi and Liao Shaoxuang simultaneously leapt from the warship and flew directly into the sky. Both sides turned into streaks of light and rushed towards each other. Immediately after, various spells erupted in the sky, forcing the warships of White Feather City to retreat to avoid being affected. Lu Zhengzi and Liao Shaoxuang's strength was clearly weaker than Zhao Wenrui and the other heavenly immortal of Purple Moon City. As soon as they engaged, they were constantly forced to retreat by the opponent's spells. There was nothing they could do. Lu Zhengzi and Liao Shaoxuang were both nearing their end. At this stage, their soul power was constantly weakening, and their vitality was gradually dissipating. It was already good if they could exert 1/5 of the strength of a heavenly immortal at their peak. Now their strength was no different from that of a peak earth immortal. With this level of strength, they naturally had no way to contend with Zhao Wenrui. Zhao Wenrui attacked while saying to Lu Zhengzi, "Old immortal, I originally wanted to leave your White Feather City to fend for yourselves, but I didn't expect you to actively seek death. Since that's the case, then I will grant your wish." Speaking of this, Zhao Wenrui gathered the immortal energy on his body into the immortal sword in his hand. The next moment, he swung his sword. 9 Dragon Sword. The moment the sword energy was unleashed, 9 roaring giant dragons rushed towards Lu Zhengzi. Feeling the 9 dragon transformed sword energies, Lu Zhengji's brows furrowed. He immediately used a spell. Great Sun Golden Body Scripture. A sun appeared behind Lu Zhengzi, and then he withstood Zhao Wenrui's 9 sword energies. However, although Lu Zhengzi barely blocked the sword energy, his body was still severely injured. Lu Zhengzi was directly sent flying backward, and the huge sun behind him gradually dissipated. Seeing that Lu Zhengzi and Liao Shaoxuang were no match for the other side, Lu Chen thought to himself, it seems he has to find a way to help the two of them break through their limitations. They were the only 2 reliable subordinates left among his old subordinates. If they died, there would be no one to help him expand his power. End of this chapter. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 1323. Is that person really just an earthly immortal? Seeing Lu Zhengzi being sent flying by the 9 dragons' sword, Zhao Wenrui pursued the victory, his body turning into a stream of light and instantly charging in front of Lu Zhengzi, intending to heavily wound him again. Although Lu Zhengzi was nearing the end of his life, he was still a heavenly immortal, and the lifespan of an immortal was very tenacious. Zhao Wenrui didn't think he could easily kill Lu Zhengzi. He only wanted to inflict more injuries on Lu Zhengzi now, preferably to the point where he couldn't get up. If King Chen knew that his subordinate was seriously injured, he might return to Baiyu City. Thinking of this, Zhao Wenrui swung another sword towards Lu Zhengzi. Just as Zhao Wenrui's sword was about to strike Lu Zhengzi, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Lu Zhengzi and unleashed a sword strike. The next moment, a terrifying sword energy rushed towards Zhao Wenrui. Zhao Wenrui quickly swung his sword to block, and gathered immortal power in his feet, kicking off the ground and leaping back over 100 meters, creating distance between himself and Lu Zhengzi. Lu Chen had used a disguise at this time and completely changed his appearance, so Zhao Wenrui didn't recognize him. When Zhao Wenrui saw that the person who arrived only exuded the aura of a Earth Immortal, he couldn't help but sneer, a mere Earth Immortal actually dares to interfere in a battle between heavenly immortals. He couldn't kill Lu Zhengzi for the time being, as he still needed Lu Zhengzi as bait, but that didn't mean he couldn't kill others. It was just an Earth Immortal, killing him was no big deal. Thinking of this, Zhao Wenrui immediately mobilized his immortal energy and used the 9 Dragons sword again. Seeing the 9 dragon transformed sword energies charging towards him, Lu Chen didn't use the Immortal King's curse. Dealing with just a heavenly immortal, using the Immortal King's curse would be making a mountain out of a molehill, like using a cannon to kill a mosquito. Furthermore, after the power of the Immortal King's curse was depleted, it would take a long time to fully recharge. Lu Chen would only use the Immortal King's curse at a life or death moment. To deal with a heavenly immortal, his current strength was already sufficient. Lu Chen gripped the immortal slaying sword in his hand, mobilized all the immortal power in his body, and unleashed a sword strike. With this sword, heaven and earth shook, and space seemed to emit cracking sounds. Azure Dragon's roar of the netherworld. The next moment, the sword energy unleashed by the immortal slaying sword transformed into a giant yellow dragon, which let out a dragon roar and then charged towards the 9 dragons opposite. When the 9 dragons came into contact with the sword energy of the immortal slaying sword, they instantly dissipated, and the sword energy of the Azure Dragon's roar of the netherworld continued forward. Jia Wenrui was unable to dodge in time and was instantly wounded by the sword energy of the immortal slaying sword, one of his arms instantly disappearing. Jia Wenrui couldn't believe what he was seeing. He was a heavenly immortal, and a heavenly immortal at the peak of his strength. He was actually wounded by an earth immortal. How is this possible? Is that person really just an earth immortal? Something's not right. Jia Wenrui's gaze was fixed on the immortal slaying sword in Lu Chen's hand. Jia Wenrui suddenly thought of something and showed a look of realization. That sword gave him a great sense of oppression, and it was very likely a heaven-grade immortal sword. Jia Wenrui was a little surprised that an earth immortal actually possessed a heaven-grade immortal sword. Soon, the surprise in Jia Wenrui's eyes turned into greed. An earth immortal could heavily wound him with a heaven-grade immortal sword. If he could obtain this immortal sword, his strength would definitely increase significantly. Thinking of this, Jia Wenrui no longer held back. A cauldron directly flew out of his spatial ring, and this cauldron kept getting bigger after it appeared. Jia Wenrui shouted, "Golden Light Cauldron." The golden light cauldron quickly flew above Lu Chen and then slammed down towards him. As it descended, a terrifying pressure descended from the sky, making Lu Chen feel a bit of trepidation. However, Lu Chen easily broke free from the pressure of the golden light cauldron. He raised his hand and used the Azure Dragon's roar of the netherworld again. The next moment, a giant dragon flew out from Lu Chen's immortal slaying sword. When the giant dragon collided with the golden light cauldron instantly shattered. And Jia Wenrui, who was controlling the golden light cauldron from a distance, also suffered a backlash of power and directly spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Jia Wenrui was a little disbelieving. Although the person might be holding a heaven-grade immortal sword, that person was only at the earth immortal realm. How could he be so strong? The higher the grade of the immortal sword, the more immortal energy is consumed when using it. If a person is weak, and their immortal energy is insufficient, they cannot unleash the full power of the immortal sword. Moreover, due to the terrifying consumption of high-grade immortal swords, just one sword strike could consume a large amount of immortal energy. A mere earth immortal actually unleashed 2 such terrifying sword energies in a short period of time, which made Jia Wenrui somewhat unable to understand what was going on. At the same time, another heavenly immortal from Ziyu City discovered that Jia Wenrui was heavily wounded and quickly sent Liao Shaoxuang flying with a punch, then directly came to Jia Wenrui's side. "Sir, are you alright?" Jia Wenrui looked at Lu Chen flying in the air in the distance, enduring the severe pain in his body and said, "I'm fine. I didn't expect a mere earth immortal to be able to heavily wound me with a heaven-grade immortal sword. I must obtain this immortal sword." Although his body was heavily wounded, Jia Wenrui felt no fear in his heart at this moment. Instead, he was very excited. An earth immortal could heavily wound him using a heaven-grade immortal sword. So if he used this immortal sword, would he also be able to fight across realms? From now on, even if he encountered a true immortal, he wouldn't have to worry. The stronger Lu Chen's displayed strength was, the more Jia Wenrui wanted to obtain the immortal slaying sword in his hand. Jia Wenrui then said to the heavenly immortal beside him, "Let's attack together." "Yes, sir." Immediately, the 2 of them attacked together. Jia Wenrui used the 9 dragons sword again, while the heavenly immortal beside him also unleashed his most powerful profound grade immortal technique. Seeing the 2 of them attack together, Lu Chen no longer held back and directly mobilized the power of the Great Tao. The next moment, the space they were in instantly turned blood red. Jia Wenrui suddenly felt as if he had been locked onto by something. Feeling the power of the slaughter Great Tao released from Lu Chen's body, Jia Wenrui was stunned for a moment, but he quickly reacted. He continuously took out several magic treasures that enhanced his strength. In the Tianyan immortal realm, it was not like the world inside the Chaos Beast's body. Although the destructive power of slaughter was also terrifying, the power of slaughter was even more powerful inside the Chaos Beast's belly. The laws of the Tianyan immortal realm were relatively complete, and the suppression of various great Dao powers was particularly obvious. The power of laws was equivalent to a balancing mechanism. When a certain power was too strong, the heavenly Dao laws of the Tianyan immortal realm would impose restrictions. Lu Chen's power of slaughter was clearly suppressed by the heavenly Dao laws, but even with the suppressed power of slaughter, combined with the immortal slaying sword and a heaven-grade immortal technique, it was not something an ordinary heavenly immortal could withstand. Lu Chen suddenly swung his sword, and the sword energy unleashed by the immortal slaying sword instantly transformed into a blood-red giant dragon, directly charging towards Jia Wenrui and the heavenly immortal beside him. When the blood dragon approached Jia Wenrui finally realized that he couldn't withstand this move, but it was already too late. His life-saving magic treasures shattered one by one, and soon the blood dragon passed through his body. End of this chapter. Chapter 1324. It is impossible to settle accounts with only one person. Feeling the vitality within his body instantly severed, Jia Wenrui's face showed an expression of disbelief. How is this possible? PFF'd. Jia Wenrui spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, and his body slowly fell. Seeing that Jia Wenrui was actually killed, the heavenly immortal next to Jia Wenrui also realized that the person in the distance was not someone he could resist, and he immediately prepared to flee. However, Lu Chen did not give him a chance. Lu Chen immediately circulated his immortal power. Divine Illumination Myriad Lanterns Scripture. The next moment, countless oil lamps appeared in the surrounding space, and the red immortal energy emanating from the oil lamps converged to form a red ribbon. The red ribbon quickly wrapped around the heavenly immortal. The heavenly immortal tried every means to break free from the red ribbon, but the red ribbon wrapped tighter and tighter. Lu Chen instantly arrived beside the heavenly immortal and said to the heavenly immortal's head with the immortal slaying sword, "If you want to die, you can try to break free." After hearing this, the heavenly immortal knew that they had completely lost, and he could only say, "Don't kill me, I surrender." Lu Chen then said to Lu Zheng's, "The war is over, you can clean up the battlefield." Lu Zheng's immediately shouted loudly above Purple Moon City, "Jia Wenrui is dead, those who surrender will not be killed." Hearing this, the Purple Moon City army instantly collapsed, and White Feather City successfully took over Purple Moon City. This is the nature of war between low-level cities. As long as one side's high-end combat power is defeated, the war is over. Lu Chen looked at the heavenly immortal controlled by the divine illumination myriad lanterns scripture before him, and then asked, "I ask, you answer. If you speak half a lie, I will use soul-searching art." Lu Chen's current strength was only Earth immortal realm. It was somewhat difficult for him to use soul-searching art, and he was prone to backlash. He was just trying to scare the man in front of him. However, Lu Yangqiu was indeed scared at this moment. Just now, he saw Lu Chen deal with Jia Wenrui so easily. In his opinion, the man in front of him absolutely could not have only Earth immortal realm strength. It was very likely that he had hidden his strength. There were ways to conceal one's aura and realm in this world. Moreover, this was a being who possessed a heaven-grade immortal sword. How could he just be an ordinary person? Lu Yangqiu quickly said, "Sir, please speak. This humble one will certainly tell you everything I know." Lu Chen asked, "Which king of the heavenly summer immortal dynasty does Jia Wenrui belong to?" Hearing this, Lu Yangqiu was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect this person to ask this question right away. One must know that Jia Wenrui had only recently pledged allegiance to King Anyuan, and it was done secretly. How could this person know? Seeing that Lu Yangqiu didn't answer directly, Lu Chen said, "What? You don't want to talk?" Saying this, Lu Chen made a gesture as if preparing to use soul-searching art. After Lu Yangqiu recovered, he quickly said, "Sir, I'll tell you. It's King Anyuan. Just a few years ago, Jia Wenrui pledged allegiance to King Anyuan." Lu Chen said, "Purple Moon City is a city close to the Chaos Sea. It has no resources and no talents. Why would King Anyuan want Purple Moon City?" Lu Yangqiu hesitated for another moment, and finally he said, "Jia Wenrui discovered that King Chen seemed to have returned to White Feather City, so he used this information to exchange for the opportunity to pledge allegiance to King Anyuan. King Anyuan ordered him to continue monitoring White Feather City's every move from Purple Moon City." Hearing Lu Yangqiu's answer, Lu Chen finally completely understood why someone was still spreading the news from over a billion years ago. It turned out that someone really intended to kill with a borrowed knife. King Anyuan spreading this news at this time was clearly reminding him that the reason he was besieged by several major forces back then was all caused by Lu Jingfu. The wrong has a head, the dead has a master, so go find trouble with Lu Jingfu. Lu Chen chuckled. Wanting to kill with a borrowed knife, wasn't he afraid that it would turn around and cut him instead? His return this time was not just to eliminate Lu Jingfu. Lu Jingfu was not the only one who participated in besieging him back then. Most of the kings of the Heavenly Summer Immortal Dynasty were involved in this matter. After all, he was an immortal king back then, and he posed the greatest threat to the position of the Immortal Dynasty Lord. His brothers and sisters used all the power they controlled to eliminate him. When settling accounts, it was impossible to settle with just one person. Lu Chen then used a sealing formation to seal Lu Yangqiu's immortal power, and then had someone take Lu Yangqiu away and imprison him. After finishing all this, Lu Chen came to Lu Zheng's and Liao Shaoshuang's side. At this time, both Lu Zheng's and his wife had suffered serious injuries. Without hesitation, Lu Chen directly used the power of life to help the two recover their bodies. However, mere pure life force had very limited effect on the two's physical recovery. Their lifespans were nearing their end, and their divine souls were already damaged. Simply infusing life force no longer had a significant effect. Lu Chen thought to himself, if only there was a higher level recovery immortal art. Although the Azurwood longevity art he possessed was a saint-grade technique within the Chaos Beast's body, when brought to the Heavenly Evolution immortal territory, it couldn't even be considered an unranked immortal art. Lu Chen then said to Lu Zheng's and Liao Shaoshuang, "How are you feeling?" The two said in unison, "Thank you, great king." Lu Chen thought for a moment, and then said, "This king can now refine heaven-grade pills. When this king finds the pill formula for the boundary-breaking pill that can help heavenly immortals break through, this king will immediately refine the pills for you and help you break through." Hearing this, the two were stunned for a moment, and then became excited in their hearts. If Lu Chen could truly refine heaven-grade pills, then as long as they had a heaven-grade boundary-breaking pill, they would have hope of breaking through their lifespan limit. It's just, how could a pill formula for a heaven-grade boundary-breaking pill be so easy to find? If such a pill formula truly existed, most immortals in the Heavenly Evolution immortal territory would not have fallen at the Heavenly Immortal stage. Moreover, even with a heaven-grade boundary-breaking pill, it wasn't guaranteed that one could break through. Realm breakthroughs always carried risks. Of course, Lu Chen being able to refine heaven-grade pills was already enough to give them hope. Next, they just needed to find the pill formula for the heaven-grade boundary-breaking pill. Lu Zheng's asked, "Great King, King Anyuan already knows about your return. Do we need to move away from White Feather City next?" Lu Chen pondered for a moment. Although King Anyuan had not spread the news of his return to the Heavenly Evolution immortal territory yet, no one could say when he might suddenly tell others about his return. King Anyuan hoped that he and Lu Jingfu would fight to the death. In the future, King Anyuan would very likely tell Lu Jingfu about his return. When Lu Jingfu found out about his return, fearing retaliation, he would inevitably send troops to attack him, and might even unite with the super forces of the Heavenly Evolution immortal territory to deal with him again. It's just, currently, he had not yet grown stronger. If King Anyuan told Lu Jingfu about him now, it wouldn't serve the purpose of killing with a borrowed knife. Therefore, King Anyuan probably wouldn't leak this news for a while. Thinking of this, Lu Chen said, "We have nowhere to go right now. It's better to continue staying in White Feather City." End of this chapter. Chapter 1325. No need to go through so much trouble, just send troops directly. Baiyu City is located on the edge of the Sea of Chaos, making it easy to develop one's power there without attracting too much attention. Although King Anyuan has already discovered Lu Chen's return, even if King Anyuan were to reveal this news, Baiyu City is still a great distance from the Tianxia Immortal Dynasty. The Tianxia Immortal Dynasty's army would need a considerable amount of time to reach and attack Baiyu City, which would provide Baiyu City with ample time to prepare. After hearing Lu Chen's words, Lu Zheng looked at the distant Ziyu City and asked, "Your Majesty, now that we have captured Ziyu City, I'm afraid King Anyuan will soon realize that we have detected his plan. He might make other moves next. Lu Chen said, I, on the other hand, don't think he will make any moves. After all, I haven't fully grown yet. He wants to use my hand to get rid of Lu Jingfu. If I don't have some strength, how can I help him get rid of Lu Jingfu? Hearing Lu Chen's analysis, Lu Zheng's thought for a moment and felt that there was some truth to it, so he no longer dwelled on whether or not to move out of Baiyu City. After annexing Ziyu City, Baiyu City entered another period of great development. In the area where they were located, Ziyu City was considered relatively powerful. After all, being on the edge of the Sea of Chaos, the major powers had no interest in these areas eroded by chaotic energy. In this area, celestial immortals were already considered strong. Seeing that Baiyu City had defeated Ziyu City, the surrounding cities believed that Baiyu City intended to continue expanding and unify their region. In order to prevent Baiyu City from succeeding, several larger nearby cities immediately united, planning to stop Baiyu City's expansion plan. Lu Chen was aware of the actions of those city lords, but he didn't take them to heart. At most, they were just some celestial immortals. He could deal with them without even using the Immortal King's cursed art. It's good that they united. This way, they don't need to conquer each city one by one. Once they unite, they can be dealt with all at once. Thinking of this, Lu Chen did not prevent those city lords from forming an alliance. In the blink of an eye, 10 years passed. Xi'an City. Xi'an City was very lively today, with immortal ships constantly flying into the sky above Xi'an City from a distance. Today was the Alliance Day for several major cities. Apart from Baiyu City and the cities controlled by Baiyu City, the city lords of basically all the remaining cities near the chaotic lands had come. Baiyu City's rapid expansion had caused them concern, so they had been preparing for the alliance for several years. Over the past 10 years, a consensus had been reached among the major cities. No matter what conflicts they had in the past, they needed to put them aside before destroying Baiyu City. At this time, in the Xi'an City Lord's mansion, quite a few city lords had already arrived. Zhe Hongbo, the city lord of Xi'an City, sat at the head of the main hall, discussing intelligence about Baiyu City with the city lords below. Just then, the sound of a guard came from the entrance. City Lord of Anda City has arrived. The next moment, a man wearing a blue robe appeared at the entrance of the main hall. Min Guanghua, the city lord of Anda City, surveyed the city lords present and said with a smile, I didn't expect everyone to arrive so quickly. I thought I was the first to arrive. At this time, a city lord joked, City Lord Min, no matter how fast you are, you can't be faster than City Lord Zhe. Min Guanghua said, City Lord Wang, that's nonsense. City Lord Zhe lives in Xi'an City. How could I possibly be faster than him? Speaking of this, Min Guanghua scanned the people in the main hall again, then asked, strange, why hasn't City Lord Zan arrived yet? Could something have happened? Zhe Hongbo, who was sitting at the head of the main hall, said, he just sent me a message earlier. He is on his way to Xi'an City. After hearing Zhe Hongbo's words, Min Guanghua didn't think much and went straight to an empty seat in the main hall and sat down, then said, it's strange. When Ziyu City was captured by Baiyu City, we already had the intention to form an alliance. It's impossible for the people of Baiyu City to not know it all. It's been 10 years, but Baiyu City hasn't shown any intention of stopping our alliance. As Min Guanghua's voice fell, a man's voice came from the entrance of the main hall. The man was wearing golden armor, was burly, and was 2 to 3 meters tall. Perhaps Baiyu City doesn't put us in their eyes at all, thinking that even if we form an alliance, we won't pose a threat to them. Hearing this, the city lords in the main hall all looked at the entrance. Seeing the man at the entrance, Min Guanghua said, City Lord Zan, I didn't expect you to be slower than me. Zan Mo said, I encountered something on the way, so I was late. Min Guanghua asked, what could be more important than the alliance? Zan Mo said with a smile, you'll know later. I found a helper. Hearing Zan Mo's words, the city lords present all looked at Zan Mo with curiosity. They wanted to know who the helper Zan Mo was talking about was and what kind of strength they possessed. At this time, Zhe Hongbo, who was sitting at the head of the main hall, spoke, alright, since everyone is here, let's begin discussing the alliance. Although Baiyu City has been quiet for the past 10 years, its strength has been continuously growing. Judging from their annexation of Ziyu City, Baiyu City's ambition is definitely not small. Their goal is likely to unify the entire chaotic lands. As Zhe Hongbo's voice fell, a city lord on the right side of the main hall said, I have investigated the city lord of Baiyu City. Lu Zheng's and his Dao companion are approaching their lifespan limit, and neither of them has a successor. Logically, they should not have much interest in expanding their power. Another city lord said, that's right. 50 years ago, Lu Zheng's neglected Baiyu City, causing a large outflow of population, and Baiyu City was once on the verge of disappearing. Zhe Hongbo said, regardless of the reason why he suddenly had the idea of expanding his power, we cannot let it go unchecked. Jia Wenrui of Ziyu City was stronger than most of us, and Ziyu City had 2 celestial immortals, but even so, Ziyu City still lost to Baiyu City. If Baiyu City were to attack any one of us present, I'm afraid our fate would be no different from that of Ziyu City. Therefore, we must unite. It's best to take the initiative and destroy Baiyu City, eliminating this threat. As Zhe Hongbo's voice fell, Min Guanghua stroked his chin and said, it's also strange. Lu Zheng's and his Dao companion are just 2 celestial immortals who are approaching their lifespan limit. Their strength should not be as strong as Jia Wenrui's, yet Jia Wenrui ultimately lost. Zhe Hongbo said, perhaps Lu Zheng's used some kind of magical treasure. Hearing this, some of the city lords present began to have their own calculations. If there really was some kind of magical treasure, and they all attacked Lu Zheng's together, even if they could kill Lu Zheng's, it was very likely that some of them would be killed by the magical treasure controlled by Lu Zheng's. At the same time, some people were also coveting the magical treasure that might be in Lu Zhengji's hands. A city lord said, it seems that attacking Baiyu City requires careful consideration. Hearing this, Zanmo said with a smile, it's not that troublesome. Just send out troops. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen. Next video start with Chapter 1326, King Chen is still the King Chen.